here we are. What episode is this?
Season 3, episode 8.
Season 3? No, we're on like episode 14.
You said it with such conviction.
Man, that's the Game of Thrones episode you're on.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Wait, you're sold?
Well, remember, I was like, I don't even know we started. I was like, I didn't even know we started season 3. So it's
I kind of
season 3, episode 8.
Yeah, I kind of low key just started putting season 3. I don't know. Like I put season 3 literally after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, bro. It wasn't in the group email, so I didn't see it.
Yeah,
So.
I kind of made a group decision on that one. My bad, guys.
Yeah.
But we're doing today. We got a very special episode because we're talking about the most important position on the football field. Am I right? We're talking about quarterbacks, dude. Quarterbacks, not nickelbacks.
Quarterbacks, baby.
Quarterbacks, dude. Not pennybacks either, dude.
Take some nickel back.
Anyways, so we're going to go through our top 12 quarterbacks. We're going to go through our consensus between all of ours. We have our individual rankings. Those are all posted on Instagram and stuff like that if you would like to go check out individually who's got who, where. But, yeah, so that's what we're going through today. Before we start, I just want to let you know if you don't have time for the entire episode and you want to go through and you can, say you want to just hear us talk about Lamar Jackson, you can go downstairs. Go down in the description. Sorry, I'm tripping over every word. You go down into the description, look for when I put Lamar Jackson, and then it will have a timestamp. You literally, if you're on YouTube, you just click that timestamp, and you can go check out the whole segment of us talking about Lamar Jackson. That way you don't have to go listen to us talk about Matt Stafford or all these other guys that you might not be that curious on. So besides that, subscribe to us on YouTube, like this video if you're on YouTube, give us a review on the Apple Podcasts app. It really helps us out. I just got to get all this out before the beginning of the episode. But that's all I got. Let's get into it.
Good way.
Yeah, so this is going to be our early top 12 quarterbacks. Like Mr. Mike said, if you want to see our own personal rankings, it'll be on the Instagram at AVG Fantasy Football. So, and this is just the consensus top 12, and then we'll have an honorable mention of some guys that we each had ranked that maybe not everyone else had ranked. So we can just jump into it, you know?
For sure. Let's throw these
list,
up.
bro. Oh, there it is, dude. I did.
Who do we got first on our list, huh, boys?
It's looking like Mahomes.
We got the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Before we jump into this, the one thing I could say is it's crazy because I saw a stat. It was like, I want to say it's at least 12 years running now that no quarterback has repeated as the number one overall quarterback back-to-back years. So, I mean, Mahomes a couple years ago was the number one quarterback. Obviously, he was coming off the board as the first quarterback in a lot of drafts last year. I mean, minus, him getting hurt. I mean, he probably still wouldn't have finished as the quarterback one with the crazy season that Lamar Jackson had. So, you could kind of argue Lamar Jackson could be number one. We have him as the consensus number two, but I'm going to follow that trend of no quarterback has ever finished back-to-back years in the last 12 years as the number one quarterback. And I'm just going to throw Mahomes back up there in the numero uno spot.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's consensus number one. I mean, dude's a beast. They got CEH. I mean, that's only going to help. They didn't lose anybody.
Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If you're not used to who CEH is, it's just kind of his nickname. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's the running back from LSU. Yeah. It's the running back that when they drafted, Andy Reid called him and said, "Hey, Mahomes, who do you want?" And he was like, "I want CEH." And he was like, "Done."
That's love.
That's how you make your franchise quarterback, your Super Bowl MVP quarterback happy. You just say, "Who do you want, bro?"
Seriously. He's like, "We're going to give you all the money you want, too, but..."
Yeah, but who do you want? Who do you want to throw the ball to?
How mad is Damian Williams hearing that? He's like, "Dog, am I not, good enough to, throw the ball to? What's up with me? I just ran for 102 tugs."
He's still the starter.
The starter.
Yeah, Damian, you're the starter. He's like, hey, you're the starter.
He probably don't give a fuck. He's getting paid. He's got a Super Bowl ring.
Pat Mahomes, what's the highest upside at any quarterback?
Yeah.
We've seen 50 touchdowns. We've seen 5,000 yards. He's just, I kind of stat my quarterbacks out. I use it in adjusted fantasy, yardage. I have him top 3 in yards and number 2 in touchdowns overall. So, but that's me just projecting averages. He could easily hit a ceiling of way high of kind of what I'm kind of modestly projecting with him. So the ceiling is as high as anybody. And then, like I said, he's just going to be in the top 3 in both those categories. So it's hard not to put him at 1.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting all the returners too. You're still getting Tyreek Hill back, a full year of Tyreek Hill because he got injured the first week last year. So you're getting a full slate of Tyreek Hill. Sammy Watkins is coming back. I know he's not the greatest, but he's a weapon out there for him to use. Travis Kelce, Damian Williams, and then they draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. So he's got all the weapons still.
Damn. No, yeah, Damian Williams.
And McCole Hardman, second year in the offense. So, we saw him. He's a quick guy. You get him the ball in space, and he can take a slant 80, 90 yards to the house.
I have a good stat for Hardman. Shout out to Chris for sending me this. So, because, you figure he's going to make the jump, right, next year?
Yeah.
Second year. I think he's going to pass Sammy Watkins. Watkins had his shot last year to be the number one and didn't really run with it. So, Hardman had 41 targets all year. I want to say he finished with 26 catches, 25 or 26 catches. He still managed to have touchdowns of 21, 30, 42, 48, 63, and 83. And that's only on 41 targets.
So he's a big play guy.
So you figure he's going to get more than that this year.
Yeah.
So, he's going to make that next jump. If he can stay healthy, Mahomes is going to be.
For sure. Could Hardman be one of the breakout guys, potentially?
Dude, 41 targets, and he had six touchdowns, and then he returned 100 yards. Yeah. So
stay tuned for the breakout episode. We're going to have an episode where we just go over some players we think are going to take that next step this year and break out.
Yep.
So I guess we can just jump into number 2 right here. You got the NFL regular season MVP, Lamar Jackson.
Big trust.
It's kind of hard. These guys are like 1A, 1B. Seriously. Lamar Jackson obviously offers the rushing upside. You like seeing that. But, was it like his ceiling last year you saw? What is it, 176 rushing attempts? He broke Michael Vick's all-time rushing record for a quarterback. 36 passing touchdowns.
On his first try.
Yeah.
Let me try this one time. All right, my bad. And he did it.
Do you think that was the ceiling then? Do you think he could repeat it? It's a little bit of regression, or
I said that when we had an off-air talk is if he doesn't improve as a passer, that's his ceiling.
Yeah.
100%. It's not even questions asked. He threw for 36 touchdowns with a 9% touchdown percentage. So basically what touchdown percentage is, if you don't know, it's like per pass attempt, the amount of touchdowns you throw. A great year is like 7%. And I've been tracking this for the last 3 years, and whenever you see something like a 9 or like an 8 point something, it always goes down. Yeah. So it's coming down 100%. And then the reason I have him actually at 3 is I don't think you want your franchise quarterback running 175 times a year.
Yeah.
They did just draft J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. So they did draft a running back in the second round. I still have him projected for 150 rushing yards. Or 150 rushing attempts. Carries, yeah. So I still think he's going to carry the ball. I just think that touchdown rate's going to come down some, and the carries are going to come down a little bit. I haven't projected still for 150 carries, about 800 rushing yards too. But I see the throwing being the issue with that touchdown percentage, to where I have him actually at number 3, not number 2 personally.
I think it's just you're not going to get the value out of like where you draft them. It's like we see it year to year. These quarterbacks that are number 1. The next year, the people are diving all over it, just trying to get them on their team. They're like, especially in redraft leagues, it's like they just had this player carry their entire fucking team.
Yeah.
So this whole past year, and they're gonna want him again.
Yeah.
And like let them make that mistake and take Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I still really like him for the rushing upside, like fantasy wise,
Yeah. To your point, it's like don't be grabbing him in a top 5 pick.
No.
Somebody will.
Somebody will.
Unless if you're in 2 QB leagues, he's probably going like top 5 in 2 QB leagues.
Yeah. Even then, he wouldn't be the first quarterback I'd take because, he's one hit away from getting injured. Like I said, no, in at least 12 years, from my understanding, quarterback hasn't repeated as the number 1 quarterback in 12 straight years. So I'm gonna avoid that. And like you said, taking a top, he's gonna go first round in a lot of leagues. People are gonna reach for him.
12.
People are gonna reach for him, and it's just I don't know. One thing I noticed breaking down these quarterbacks was I feel like we all kind of had like, I want to say like 8 quarterbacks that were kind of like consensus 8. But then after that, like 9 through 12 was kind of like all over the place. And after that, it's kind of like you could justify a lot of these quarterbacks. Like he could go from 8 to 15, but what's the difference there? Maybe a couple passing touchdowns, a couple 100 yards. What's the difference going to be right there? So I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks.
There's
later
quarterbacks
as we go
in like
down.
the 16, 17 range where it wouldn't surprise me if they finished in the top 12, 10. So it's like, like you said, after these top 8, it's like it does get a little. These guys are kind of almost mix and match.
Yeah. So you said 150. Is that like your ceiling?
No, obviously
that's you think like 150. No, I'm just saying. That's a good number.
I'm only taking away 25 carries, which is like only 2 a game, which isn't that much.
No, for sure. No, because he averaged what 6.8. Yeah, so he had 176 for 1206. Yeah. So what I wrote down here, I think it's those games where he was running it a lot. So I wrote, he had 10 games of more than 10 carries, and then he had 7 games of 14 or more carries. So that's like running back number. Like 14 carries in a game is a lot. So yeah, I agree. Like if they can do like 8 to 10 a game, which would put him at that 150, 160 range, even lower. I mean, they got Dobbins, they got Duvernay. They got Prochet.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so they drafted a lot of weapons to kind of, I feel like,
to
ease
kinda
the
ease off,
workload.
exactly.
Like you can't have your franchise quarterback out there running 170 times for 5 straight years. We see Cam. Cam, he can't even stay on the field anymore. He's just
Cam's
getting beat up.
yeah, Cam's exactly. Granted, he's a little bit different, but the thing with Lamar Jackson is he doesn't look for contact, but he looks to shake you. And there's going to be times where you get hit when that happens. Like you're not going to juke everyone all the time. So. That's the thing. So if they can get it to like 120 with, like you said, Dobbins and Ingram, that'd be even better. Which
it's better for the team.
Yeah,
but
for the
bad
team.
for fantasy.
Exactly.
To Michael's point, if you're drafting him at first and he gets 120
100%.
carries, you're not going to be happy taking him in the first round.
Yeah,
Not
that's
at
why
all.
2 or 3. That's why even 3 is good for the team. But if he does run it that much, hell, he might win MVP again.
For sure, yeah.
So I was gonna say is like as much as we're hyping up or like talking about these players, we're all I think we're all on the same page as like just kind of wait to the later rounds to get a quarterback.
I don't
Yeah.
mind it if it's your fantasy team.
What's
if you
the
like taking a
strategy thing?
quarterback, I mean, I'm not like when he's like, oh, you're gonna fucking lose if you take a quarterback. in the
I
second
mean,
or
you
third
can,
round.
but-
because you get running backs that bust in the first and second
But-
round, but don't reach to an extreme point like we're talking
Right.
about, like top 8 picks.
Yeah.
If you want to go end of the second round with like Mahomes or something, or Lamar's there or whatever, or go like 3rd or 4th with some of these next guys, I'm not mad at that. 'Cause
Yeah.
if that's how you like the game, you're like, I just want that quarterback and whatever. That's on you.
Some
But-
people don't want to stress about having to like move quarterbacks
Yeah.
around, but I don't mind it. And every year that I have taken a quarterback high, which I think I've done with Aaron Rodgers like twice, and I regretted it.
Yeah.
Even I took Aaron Rodgers in like a 3rd round. I regretted it.
Well, mind you, we're talking about like 10 to 12 man, 1 quarterback leagues for the
Right.
ones that are listening.
For sure.
Not 2 QB leagues
So-
or anything like that.
Really quick, I'm just curious, like dynasty perspective for Lamar Jackson. Like if you have Lamar Jackson, because Dre, you're big into dynasty. We're more of redraft people. So like, would you be trying to trade Lamar Jackson right now? Because like I would assume I
mean,
would. I think it might be a downturn year just because you notice a lot of like quarterbacks they'll kill it for a year. You saw it with like Cam Newton. You saw it with Colin
RG3.
Kaepernick. What killed it for a year, and then the next year the defenses kind of figured out their strategy and they slowed him down big time.
No, I mean the guy who owns him did actually bring it up. He's like, I might just trade him, but he has Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, so it's like, man, that's tough to. That was 10 touchdowns, and in fantasy, that's like that'll gut you. If you're
Double
like
points.
double points from your tight end, shit, that's big time. So. But I mean, he got drafted in the 2nd round of rookie leagues. I'm sure in dynasty startups, he's going pretty high. He's probably like him and Mahomes are like the first 2 guys getting taken, probably top 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all a strategy. Some people think he's not going to hold up, and some people think he's going to do this for 10 years. So
Yeah, I probably wouldn't trade him in a dynasty because it's like even if he does get beat up for the next 5 or 6 years, I mean, you have a pretty safe quarterback for the next 5 or 6 years. You're going to be taking some shots at quarterbacks in your dynasty drafts in the meantime.
sure.
Yeah.
And if you hit on another one, or you can make a trade for like someone like, let's just say someone who's kind of young too. Let's just say I'm just throwing a name.
Tagovailoa.
just to give you guys an example, Drew Lock in our league just got picked up like at the end, like when he started playing, he was like a free agent because he wasn't playing. So like a Drew Lock isn't a bad.
I mean, there's going to be quarterbacks who are like Matthew Stafford's 4 years from now, where year in and year out they're safe. Maybe you make a trade for that guy like down the road, and
For sure.
not hit him, but like I don't know, like I said, maybe 2 as a safe player, like year in and year out. You make a trade for someone like that, and you have Lamar Jackson. If he goes down, you have someone, or you're drafting these quarterbacks. I'd probably keep him in a dynasty.
Yeah, I was just curious what you guys think. I don't
He's
want to
a
like
beast.
sit here and talk about Lamar Jackson forever, but
Yeah.
he did absolutely destroy it last
He was a
year.
monster.
For
It
sure.
was scary playing him.
One thing I
Scary
say too
monster.
is like when you're talking about the quarterbacks, you also got to pay attention to the scoring for your quarterbacks in your league because I feel like that's one of like the, running backs and receivers. It's kind of the same. Maybe it's PPR, so you get a point per reception, but basically a yard is a yard, a catch is a catch and whatnot. But for quarterbacks in some of these leagues, a standard league for what we did our rankings is 4 points passing touchdowns, and then I think it's
6 for rushing. Yeah.
6 for rushing, and
'Cause
then,
we're in a QB
and then every
friendly league.
25 yards you get 1 point. So, but we're in a league where you get So every 100 yards, you get 5 points instead of 4 points. So it's better. And then you get 6 points per passing and 6 points per rushing. So in our league, a quarterback could put up 40, 50 points.
Yeah, and win you
a week. So it just depends on the league you're in. So that's just something to monitor as we go on, through this season. But we'll jump into number 3 right here. We got Russell Wilson from the Seahawks. I think he was pretty much all in all of our top 5, right? What did you guys have?
I know I had him in top 5.
Russell Wilson.
I think he was 4.
I had him at 3, I think.
I think I had him at 5 exactly. But
That's funny you say that.
yeah.
So I'll start it. I mean, I looked up. You said 5. So in the last 6 years, he's averaged a QB 5 or better. So 4.8. So he hasn't been out of the top 5 in the last 6 years. So, and with that being said, he was the second highest most sacked quarterback in the league last year. So he got sacked 54 times.
That's crazy.
So their O-line is not good, and dude is still putting up ridiculous numbers. And he led the league in, what was it, that stupid stat where the percentage of the play hitting was very small. I forget the exact number that they had, but it was at that Tyler Lockett play. So he was just extending plays with his legs. I don't know. I mean, they got more weapons on the outside. I see him being better. They try to patch up the O-line. I know they took 1 or 2. I don't know their names off the top of my head, but they try to work on the O-line. I mean, you're second worst in the NFL, so it doesn't get much worse. Yeah, so you can put one of us there. Fucking maybe might be a little better, but yeah, 54 sacks. The only person who was actually, we'll get to the next guy because the person who actually got sacked the most is in the top 8 on our list. So we'll get to him later. But yeah, 54 sacks and he still puts up those numbers. I think is pretty impressive, especially in that division with good defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's he's that one guy where he's when it comes to touchdown percentage, there's pretty much no one year in and year out who's as high as him, Russell Wilson. And I'm actually predicting a little bit more pass heavy. No, they're not. I don't think they're gonna be a pass heavy team because they want to run the ball. They're still that old school fucking run it through their throats
type of team. Up tempo though.
But yeah, up tempo, and I think the running back concern is what's going to lead to that. We haven't we talk about Chris Carson not being healthy, Rashad Penny not being healthy. They drafted
DJ Dallas.
Yeah, I had too much coffee. I'm forgetting names. They drafted DJ Dallas.
Beast mode.
So I think it's going to be a little bit more reliant on Russell Wilson to move the offense a little more. And I'm projecting some growth from the fucking buff dude.
The Hulk, DK
Metcalf. I'm forgetting every name today.
and the lime green uniforms, bro.
So I'm projecting some growth from him. So I actually see a little bit of more passing projection of Russell Wilson. And I mean, he's constantly throwing in the 30s touchdowns, as well as you get that rushing upside with him. So he was inconsistent last year at points. There was a lot of games where he was up and down. I think you see a little bit more consistency this year with Russell Wilson.
For sure.
I think for me, he's just one of the safest quarterbacks. He stays healthy, knock on wood. He's always on the field, and he's just a consistent baller out there. 4 of the last 5 years, he's had 30 or more touchdowns, and in 4 of the last 5 years, he's had 4,000 or more yards. So he's not, going to blow off the roof in the yardage, but he's getting you 4,030, which I feel is just consistent across the board. I mean, they signed Phillip Dorsett, just a good third receiver. They go out and get Greg Olsen, a solid veteran. I mean, we've seen how the tight end gets utilized in this offense. We've seen guys like Will Dissly, Jake Hollister. I mean, just all kinds of different. Nick Vanette, I think, at one point. Jimmy Graham had that year where he had 10 touchdowns in this offense. So, I mean, you throw a guy like Greg Olsen in there, a big body veteran. I think it's only going to help Russell Wilson, especially when they get close into the red zone if the running game is struggling, like we said. So, yeah, I just think he's one of the safest, most consistent kind of guys you can get. He's kind of one of these guys I think he'd be sneaky MVP front runner.
Yeah, he was up there this year for sure.
I thought a lot of people thought he was going to.
Yeah, he was up there. And I think the best stat for him is, so I'm looking at it, but this past season, he led the NFL in deep ball percentage. He was 66.67% on deep balls with 845 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no picks.
Yeah.
And he's got DK.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, damn.
He's got buff, dude.
Dude is, yeah, I mean, that's numbers speak for themselves. I mean, almost 70% throwing the ball, deep downfield. And you have DK who can go up and get it. I mean, as you're watching, he's just deadly.
So hot.
Super accurate. So
Hansel's so hot right.
For sure. All right, we could jump into the next guy right here. We got Kyler Murray from Arizona. He's entering his 2nd year. I think we're all pretty high on Kyler Murray here. I think it only helps that they went out and traded for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, you have a full year with Kenyon Drake there. We kind of saw halfway through the year they traded for Drake from Miami, and even then, it was like compared to David Johnson, it was just like night and day the difference the running attack had going from David Johnson to a Drake. So this, for me, I know Mike, you always talk about it. You've been talking about how good the Cardinals could be this year. I think this is going to be one of the most entertaining offenses in the entire league. I mean, they could be top 5. I mean, they have a lot of weapons.
I feel like that division could be top 5, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
No, for real. Dude.
Well, what do you mean? There's only 4 divisions.
No, I'm saying that the Cardinals, the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams are all like insane.
I mean, they could all. I mean,
they could be like the top 5.
Hey, didn't they? And they expanded the playoffs, right? So now like 3 teams can make it from. Oh, well, 3 could always.
No, well they made it, and so that there's only one wild card on each side, right?
Oh no. It's just now there's only one bye. They expanded 2 teams on each side, and the only team that gets a bye now is a 1 seed.
That's not till next year.
Oh, that's not till next year. Oh, okay.
But yeah,
no, I mean Kyler Murray. So I know I was talking about the sacks. He was actually the 3rd highest most sacked quarterback. He got sacked 48 times. But what's crazy is he still had a 64.4 completion percentage and threw for 3,700 yards with nothing, like no O-line at all. They got a run game. The back end of the season, they didn't have D-Hop, a new year in the system, and now they're really going to expand that offense. I mean, to put up those numbers, I can easily see him throw. I mean, and he got sacked 48 times. Sorry. So what is that? 3 sacks a game? Yeah. 3 sacks through 16 games. That's a good amount, especially when you're actually trying to win games and not try to like tank. They're actually trying to like make progress. So I just think they're going to make that step forward. They got an O-line. They got a good O-lineman in the first round. So
they drafted Josh Jones. I think it was
I was about to say that
second round. Yeah.
They got a steal. They got a steal on him.
Simmons,
They got
right?
Isaiah
That's
Simmons,
who
yeah.
they got.
They got
I'm
Isaiah
tripping.
Simmons, and then they got Josh Jones like 72nd pick.
They said he was a
something.
steal of the whole draft.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
your boy,
They were expecting him to go in like top 30. They weren't even they didn't even think
Nuts.
he was going to be there by then.
Yeah, they were saying
my
Josh
fault,
Jones
my
at the
fault.
Senior Bowl was just manhandling everyone. Like he probably had the most impressive outside of like a skill player. Like I said, people don't really pay attention to linemen that much. I feel like we just barely kind of
For real.
started paying attention to how important a lineman is. But they were saying Josh Jones out of Houston, he was just manhandling everybody out of the Senior Bowl. So that'll
time.
just boost up their line a little bit. You got to protect Kyler. I mean, he's not the biggest guy out there, but
For sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the Cardinals. I don't know. I keep talking. I feel like a dick rider for the Cardinals, but
It's your Arizona roots, bro.
well, I know, but
I
it's
think I'm guiding your dick to dick riding.
well, you're on them too.
And Larry Fitz.
They get
Oh, no, I'm just, like,
Benjamin. They
joking.
get the Josh Jones. Like they got a lot of. I think they did really well in the draft, and even before that, I thought they were going to do well this year.
I know.
Even before the Hopkins trade.
yeah, for sure. Anthony, how do you feel about Kyler?
I like Kyler. I'm projecting it. I think he's second highest on my like over. It's like the formula I use where I adjust the rushing yards for passing yards. He's second highest for my total yardage as far as adjusted rushing to passing yardage goes. I haven't the way I adjust it is basically he throws for like 5,300 passing yards when you adjust the rushing to passing. I just think his touchdown upside is a little bit lower than some of the top 3 guys or 4 guys there. I'm projecting a little bit more of a modest growth with the touchdown percentage, not like a huge 30-something leap, which can happen with him though. He does have that upside, but I mean, not much. You guys pretty much touched everything on him, so I don't need to repeat much.
I'm going to
Yeah,
throw a dart on
feels-
MVP for him, though.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Carolina.
I mean, he only
feels.
threw 20 touchdowns last year, which is, I
Yeah.
mean, it's still a decent amount for a rookie, but you got to think that number jumps up. Over 500 rushing yards. He also adds, the rushing, like you said, on the ground, 4 touchdowns. So I think that's only going to get better. And guys got like D-Hop, Larry Fitz, Christian Kirk, and then Drake out of the backfield. I mean, I know we're Dolphins fans, but we've seen Drake plenty of times where, he's an explosive. He's a playmaker.
Yeah, he can
So,
take it and go.
Yeah, I love Kyler Murray.
Drake.
Jumping to the next guy, we got Dak Prescott here at 5. He was kind of all over the place in our rankings, but he comes in the consensus at 5. It's just crazy because last year, Mike, I don't know if you got it, but we made a post if we thought Dak Prescott could be a top 10 quarterback. And I was arguing that he would be a top 10 quarterback. And a lot of these people on this post were just like shaming me. Like they were just like hating, like, oh, Dak's
Shit,
trash. He's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean,
Here we are.
he finished as the QB, too.
Which is
Which
wild.
is wild
That
when
is
you don't
wild.
think that. But I mean,
And then Jerry Jones is paying everyone besides him.
yeah, but it's 4 years in the league. He's been QB2 last year, and then QB10, QB11, and then QB6. Last year he has 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns. Those obviously his, career bests. But then he also offers the rushing upside. I think he averages 5 touchdowns on the ground per year. So just some extra points right there. They go out and get CD Lamb. So I mean, What's your guys' thoughts on Dak? Anthony, I know you had Dak at 2 actually.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
In that case,
Which isn't out of the realm of
Hey, do
possibility
your thing,
because
I'm gonna go get a beer, and
he
you had
finished
him at
at
2.
he finished at 2 last year.
Come on, Pop.
With Dak Prescott, like I said, I use my adjusted methods where I look at their passing yards and rushing yards. The switch to Mike McCarthy as the head coach isn't going to do anything but help him.
Yeah.
I stated we were talking during the draft that Mike McCarthy I think he's had one season where his offense, the rushing game is like a top 10 attempts. One season out of like 20-something years.
Yeah.
Now I know, what's his name, Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore.
Is still the offensive coordinator, but the head coach has an influence on that.
For sure.
So I think it's going to be a very pass-heavy offense in general with this team. And, he gets another weapon in a yak monster in CeeDee Lamb that's only going to be better than Randall Cobb was. You got to project some growth with Michael Gallup as well in his third year. You could even argue that Jarwin's a tight end. He might have been better than Jason Witten is, at Jason Witten at 45 years old or whatever the fuck he is.
For sure, yeah.
So I just see a still very pass-heavy offense. His touchdown percentage has never fluctuated very high. It's always been around 4.5 to 5%. So if he hits a 5.6 or 5.7%, which is only a little bit of jump, he's going to throw for probably over 30 touchdowns. He might push 35 with I have him thrown for about 4,500 yards, which is 400 under from last year, but I don't see the attempts coming down very much, and he has just another explosive weapon on top of that. And like I said, to the point of the offense being pass heavy, I was having a hard time not putting him at 2, at 2, even 1 I could consider him potentially.
Yeah, I think I had him 4 or 5 somewhere in that range. But yeah, I agree 100%. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. I think. We were so high. We were high before they drafted CeeDee Lamb. We were high on Michael Gallup taking that step. We were saying that both these guys, Gallup and Cooper, could be top 20 wide receivers. But now it's almost like, okay, maybe they're not top 20, but maybe he's got 3 top 30 receivers in a sense, almost potentially. And then you still have Zeke out of the backfield, who, if these receivers are just stretching the field, you dump it to Zeke and, a little screen pass, and he just does the rest. So, yeah.
And you saw when Mike McCarthy was the coach with Aaron Rodgers. It was red zone. It's Rodgers time.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of arrows pointing up, even though there is some potential regression with the yards. There's just a lot of arrows pointing towards up.
It just seems like, and it also seems like they're kind of game planning. Like, we might be down by 3 touchdowns, but we got every fucking offensive piece we can to come back. So
yeah,
I could see them chasing.
That was the other point too. Is they lost Byron Jones, they lost their young defensive tackle. He went somewhere else, and they lost their safety. They replaced him with some aging veterans, so that defense might not be as good as it was last year too. So we could see some more chasing game scripts
for sure. Yeah.
The only thing I can say that y'all already didn't. Did you guys talk about Zeke?
No.
All right. So McCarthy likes to kind of I think it's pass friendly, how you were saying. So I could probably bump him up now the more that I read, but what I'm looking at here is that McCarthy's actually looking to reemerge and bring up 2 running back sets instead. So he's looking to run 3 wide, 2 running back, and use Pollard as an option. So it looks like he's trying to just pass more. Pollard, because he used to play wide receiver. So I think it's just interesting to me that he's just putting more weapons for Dak. Like, to have Zeke and Pollard out there with those 3 guys is going to be, it's more for the defense too. They have to account for so many people that with Kellen Moore, they could just scheme so many people open. It's just, they could probably pick each game and be like, all right, this is your game.
Like Alabama was, where they're like, hey, catch the ball this time.
And you got CeeDee, you got Amari. they got weapons. So I feel like Dak could ball, as long as he stays healthy, and their O line is legit.
Yeah.
So they have all the pieces to.
Well, they lost their starting center Travis Frederick, but then they addressed that right away. They went and drafted Tyler Bidaz or something like that from Wisconsin. I'm butchering that last name for sure.
That's all right. Fuck it.
He was the center from Wisconsin. He was actually the nation's top center in college football. So they lose Travis Frederick to retirement, but then they go out and address that right away. So kind of fill that gap right away. If I'm Kellen Moore, I'm happier than a pig and shit, man. He's probably thinking all the ways he can utilize these weapons in his offense. Comes from that high-powered Boise State offense back in the day that was putting up 50+ every game. So
yeah, you saw a monster jump in Zach numbers last year compared to the years before.
Yeah. With
Kellen Moore, this is kind of coach speaking. If he has another good year, Dak's going to get paid, and then Kellen Moore might be a candidate for a head coaching job
for sure.
Yeah, no, it's.
All right, we jump into the number 6 right here. We got Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun
from the Houston
Watson.
Texans. I feel like he was kind of around this range for all of us right here. Obviously it hurts. You lose a guy like DeAndre Hopkins in a trade to Arizona, but they kind of go out right away. They kind of try to fill that role, I guess, with Brandon Cooks. They got Brandon Cooks now. Will Fuller, if he can stay healthy, I mean, I think sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah.
Kenny Stills.
He could be top 15.
And then you got David Johnson and Duke Johnson out of the backfield. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on Deshaun Watson?
I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm a little worried about the price tag. I'm not worried about the player because I still think he's a talent, but I'm just a little worried about that price tag. I have him personally ranked at 7, but I honestly don't think I would take him there. So I almost have to. Sometimes I have rankings and I lower them because it's like if I was drafting, would I actually draft them or would I draft someone else there?
Yeah.
Like I have Josh Allen at 8, but I might take Josh Allen at 8 over Watson if it came down to it. I just think safety. I just think there's some
The offense.
the offense, yeah. And then I mean, I know Brandon Cooks is a solid receiver, but he's not DeAndre Hopkins. You don't lose DeAndre Hopkins and make up for it in I don't want to say any shape or form, but
He's one concussion away.
he's one concussion away from being gone
Forever.
I mean, you saw a decline in the yardage last year. He's never had a huge touchdown total past that rookie season, which was just it was like a crazy touchdown percentage. So I do have him projected pretty well with the rushing and the passing, but it wouldn't surprise me if they struggle this year. And that they've been a playoff team the last 2 years. It wouldn't surprise me to see them on the losing side of the record and just kind of a down year for Deshaun Watson. I just kind of it's not the player and the talent. It's more the situation.
For sure. For me, he's kind of like one of these, like, I don't think he has, like, the upside to be a top 3 quarterback, especially losing a guy like you said, losing DeAndre Hopkins. But I think what he is, he's consistent. So if you draft him at, like, a QB 6, 7, 8, whatever, I think he'll be, like, week in, week out. He'll just be the consistent guy to get you some points. I mean, he's finished back-to-back years as the QB4. Obviously, that's with DeAndre Hopkins. He's not there anymore. But 26 touchdown passes in both those years, and then a little bit of rushing upside as well. 5 rushing touchdowns one year, 7 the next. But one thing I didn't like seeing was he's never topped 4,200 passing yards, and that's what a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, and I mean, maybe that's just because Will Fuller can't stay in the field, and there's not really a true number 2 in that offense outside of Hopkins for so many years. So we'll see if he can eclipse that. But, I mean, so far 3 years, he hasn't been able to top 4,200 yards. So that's kind of like his ceiling. So that's why I think maybe he's like a solid, like, 6, 7, 8 kind of guy. But, top 5, I don't know if he's there anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they were banking on the whole chemistry he has with Fuller because when he is healthy, I mean, dude does ball.
Yeah.
So I was talking about earlier the whole sack thing. It is Deshaun Watson. He was the highest sacked quarterback in the league last year with 55. So, and I went to look. They didn't do a great job via draft. They took Charlie Heck in the 4th round out of North Carolina. So they took 1 O-lineman. He's a tackle. And then they went DB. I know they got a Blacklock or whatever from TCU. They got my guy Coulter. So they didn't really address the offensive line need, at least through the draft. So that's kind of what worries me. I mean, he gets sacked 55 times, and Deshaun Watson's not the type. He'll scramble if he has to, but he's more of like a Russell Wilson where he looks, when he's out of the pocket, he's still looking to pass downfield. He's not trying to scramble. But so, and like you said, 4,200 yards, he hasn't, topped that. So, I can see him that plateau, around 8. Unless he makes that big jump and he just, puts it all on him.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did it register on the mic?
I mean, the only way I can see him being higher than that is if you get a full season out of Will Fuller and a full Brandon Cook season, like, because if one of those guys gets hurt, it's going to be like,
Yeah.
you got Kenny Stills and Cootie, and then
I don't even know if I'm going to bank on him for consistency, honestly. He threw 26 touchdowns last year. I could see that number being the same or maybe even possibly less. 7 games of 0 or 1 touchdowns last year.
Ooh, that's gross.
Yeah,
that'll lose you again.
And that'll lose you.
Yeah,
when
you don't need your QB. You do not need that out of your QB.
So
bro.
like I said, I have some worries about Deshaun Watson this season in particular. I'll probably have him ranked higher than I will ever touch him in a real draft. Just because he's still talented and he'll still put up production, but I'm worried about some consistency too this year.
David Johnson.
He'll probably go a lot higher, like you said, than you want. He'll go in like the 4th round, 5th round, because he still has like that name.
Yeah, and he's still a beast. We're not here.
Yeah,
dogging
like I said,
him.
It's
just what's around him. That's kind of a.
He's one of the guys where people will start drafting like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and like some of these other guys, and people will be like, they'll start chasing that quarterback.
Yeah,
they're chasing that position because they panic.
The run comes.
Right.
For sure. We can jump into the next guy. You got number 7 here, Drew Brees from the Saints. Drew Brees.
You got Lamar Jackson or Drew Brees?
This is Drew Brees.
It's like 2 years ago, we were like, oh, dude, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Like when he was a rookie, where it's like because there was like a week where it was like way higher, so we were just like
That's
his first or second game. But now it's like Lamar Jackson's probably higher in
for sure.
80% of the games.
So Drew Brees. I mean, this dude's not new to this. He's true to this section, which is Drew. I mean,
Dude, clip that shit.
clip that shit. Yeah,
Clip it,
I mean, they got
baby.
Emmanuel Sanders. They got Michael Thomas still. I mean, their offense is just like clockwork. It's just a matter of what Champagne really wants to do with Drew Brees. But Drew Brees is gonna get you 75% completion percentage, and throw for like 4,000 yards at least. Like he's just so consistent. I'm just wondering how they're gonna move the offense, whether they're gonna go more run heavy or what they're gonna try to do. But he's just a top 10 just every year. Like you just cannot have Drew Brees in the top 10. Like.
Yeah, I think this is. I've actually, to your point, I've actually bumped Kamara down some. I mean, I don't know what's do you think this is his last year, Drew Brees? I kind of feel like there's a high
I
percentage.
think if they win the Super Bowl, I think he goes out on top.
So-
if not, then I think he goes back for the second because he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
2 year.
So I don't know. I'm just. This is allegedly. This is. I was.
The alleged report.
Yeah,
maybe.
allegedly is that I was listening to the Pat McAfee show and they had a guest on who was like a Yahoo like chief analyst. I don't know, but this guy just was dropping bombs. Like, well, he just was saying stuff under his breath, saying like, "Oh, well, they know that this is his last year," and he's like, "Wait, are you saying that Drew Brees is going to retire after this year?" And he's like, "Well, so with that information, it sounded like."
Yeah.
This is for sure his last year. But
I
think you're right though, Tyler. Especially if they go to the playoffs and like lose again in the playoffs, I'm sure that's gonna piss off Drew Brees. He wants to win, but they keep talking about how they're ready to have Taysom Hill be their quarterback. They said that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. That's what the Saints are saying. Allegedly, reportedly,
Reported.
rumored.
I mean, kind of what I was trying to make with that point a little bit is I don't really like playing too much of narrative, but I think this is the one occasion where I'm going to play a little bit of narrative. I think in Drew Brees' last season, kind of being the touchdown leading record, just kind of all that stuff, potentially chasing the Super Bowl, I do think they lean a little bit more on him than they have in, I'm not talking a drastic, but I'm talking a few percentage points up in the passing game. And you saw last year, he was a monster in the 11 games he played. He was on pace for 40 touchdowns and 4,500 passing yards. And what I think that does is I think there's some inefficiency outside of Alvin Kamara in the red zone as far as rushing. So I think you might see more of the same. And instead of maybe, hey, we're in the 5-yard, let's run the ball. It's like, hey, it's Drew Brees last year. Let's fucking get him another touchdown kind of thing. Like I said, I don't play narrative too much, but I think you might see that a few more times than you have in the past. And so and then last year he was a monster. It's funny because his 2 bad games were against Atlanta. Outside of that, he threw for, let me pull his numbers up real quick. I think it was almost 3 touchdowns.
He had like a crazy streak. I don't know if it was in a row, but it might have been like 8 out of 10 or something like that, where he had like 300 plus yards or something like that, right?
Yeah, and then on top of that, so the 2 worst games against Atlanta, and then he had touchdowns of 3, 3, 3. He did have a 1 game, but then 5, 4, 3, 3. I mean, his touchdowns he was kind of winning you weeks, throwing for 300 yards in almost all those games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is probably going to be. I just kind of think it's the last year for him, and I'm kind of playing some narrative to that. This is the last year, and they're going to put him out with a bang.
You think even if he like dominates, like even if they don't win it, like say he goes out there and throws for like 45 touchdowns, like no matter what, if they don't win it,
I don't know. It's like I feel like he signed the 2-year contract, but then he did sign that contract. What was it, ABC or CBS to be in? What was it?
oh yeah,
As soon as he retires, he's basically an announcer.
he's like a Tony Romo.
Yeah, he's a Tony Romo. So
Nobody's Tony Romo.
Yeah.
But
And
if
then
they were, Tony Romo would tell you it was coming because he sees everything.
I don't know.
the addition
Jason
of Manny
Witten gave
Sanders doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Jason Witten gave Tony Romo a run for his money.
I think they saw Jason Witten and they were like, all right, dude, Tony Romo is.
I mean, you can't deny the weapons he got. I mean, I think having Cook last year kind of really helped him. Having a good tight end, kind of like finally after Jimmy Graham left after all those years, and then you go get man crush Manny Sanders in there, just a solid veteran wide receiver and get it done. And then you still have Kamara out of the backfield, so. Yeah, I like Drew Brees.
Yeah, I think I haven't projected actually for leading the league in passing touchdowns.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have to move him up, dude. Over Deshaun Watson, dude.
And they took Adam. I mean, tight ends usually don't perform, but Adam Trotman is actually pretty interesting. So
yeah.
if he is there for 2 years, look out for him. But that's for another day.
For sure. We're jumping to number 8 right here. We got the Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Finished last year as QB6 in his second year. Just some numbers on him right here. Back-to-back years, he's got 8 rushing touchdowns and then 9 rushing touchdowns and 500 or more rushing yards in each of those years. So you like seeing that. I mean, he's not the most prolific passer. They do go out and trade their first-round pick to get Stephon Diggs. So now they have Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley. You got Dawson Knox as well. They draft Zach Moss, and then, you got Singletary as well. So some weapons for him in this Bills offense. I mean, what's your thoughts on Josh Allen?
I got you ready. So I'm a Diggs guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have him up at 12 because OBJ's face was just like bothering me when I was looking at it, right? So I got some numbers, and then I'm gonna give you numbers, and then the last number is the one you have to pay attention to. Ready? So I'm gonna give you his splits from 2018 to 2019. So completions. This is Josh Allen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go 2018, 2019. So completions of 20 yards, 30, then 47. Right?
Yeah.
QB rating 67.9 to 85.3. Yards for the season, he went from 2074 to 3089. His yards per game was 172.8 to 193. Bro, his attempts per game went from 26.7 to 28.8. So he didn't pass that much more. And look at how, look how much he jumped in every stat. So he only passed it 2 times more a game, and he threw it for 1,000 more yards and 17 more completions downfield. So the jumps that he made, I think, were stupid based on the attempts that he was given per game.
Yeah.
Completion percentage jumped up 8% as well.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying is like it's not he just basically got more accurate.
Like if you're just gonna talk shit, you're like, oh, it's because they just pass more. Like, oh, that's why he did so much better. But really, he only passed 2 times more a game.
Same sample size, better numbers.
Exactly, and only 2 more attempts. And like T said, to go along with it, I mean, 8 and 9 rushing touchdowns. So if he just keeps going up, say they drop back 30 times a game, which is only 2 more. I mean, it's the numbers, the trajectory is only going up.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves here.
Yes.
I'm projecting a little bit of growth with the addition of Diggs. I mean, 'cause Diggs is one of the better route runners, so it's not going to hurt. He gets open on a consistent basis, so it's not like he has to throw into tight windows consistently. It's only going to help him. So, like Tyler pointed out, the rushing touchdowns are there, the rushing upside. He's like their goal line back.
Legit. He's like a white Cam Newton.
Yeah,
in a sense.
He is, and he's sneaky. I know it's because he's white, probably, but he's sneaky athletic. I don't feel like I only use that with white quarterbacks, but he's sneaky athletic, dude.
Yes, I mean, I like him week to week consistency. The year before, he had some monster games in there too, which I feel like you might get some more of those. It was kind of like he didn't have that over the top huge games this year, but he was consistent week in and week out, where I think it's going to happen a few times this year.
You just have to stop the first half Josh Allen against the Texans, second half Josh Allen against the Texans.
He also gets to play the Dolphins twice and the Jets twice.
Ooh.
Hey,
What's up? Wait, what happened?
The Jets team was all right.
Dude,
Hey, the Jets,
see,
hey, don't
sleep on
disrespect them. The
Dolphins
Jets team
defense.
was
The Dolphins
okay.
defense is night and day different compared to was last year.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested.
Maybe if you'd listen to this podcast, you'd know that.
Oh yeah.
You know that they added hella dudes, bro. Hella above average
Why don't you
dudes.
shut your lips and learn over there?
Hella AV2 dudes.
And who did they draft at quarterback?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, degenerative hip disease.
That's fucked up.
For sure, yeah. So,
Just
I
kidding.
think we all kind of agree, like Josh Allen, pretty
good
nice
job.
play right here. So we got Aaron Rodgers at 9. It's crazy to have Aaron Rodgers at 9. I think, Anthony, you didn't even have him ranked on your top 12. I know he was kind of low for me.
Damn, that's wild.
I mean, it's just crazy kind of seeing the narrative of a different Aaron Rodgers. I mean, could it be the new scheme? We're always talking about coordinators, different coaches, kind of like the offenses they, want to implement. You know what I'm saying? No more McCarthy. We're talking about Dak. He had this crazy year with Kellen Moore as, the new offensive coordinator. And now maybe he gets that Mike McCarthy bump. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on it? Why is it that you didn't have Rodgers ranked? I mean, these are early rankings, obviously, but why is that early rankings you didn't have him top 12?
Well, a couple of reasons. Well, you did touch on it where it's like, is it the coaching scheme? Is it him? I'm going to go on the him side first. It's like, I used to always argue that if Aaron Rodgers was in the Patriots system, he would have been the best quarterback. But watching him the last year and a half, last year specifically, I would not make that argument.
Yeah.
I would be like, nope.
He did not look good.
He did not look good. And it's been a while. I mean, he hasn't reached the 30 touchdown mark in over 2 years. You could say 3 with the injury, but I'm going to discount that. So it's been a while. The completion percentage was low last year. The yardage was low. And yeah, they went out in the draft and they really wanted to make sure they're going to pass the ball more.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they did the exact opposite of that.
Dude, I can't believe it.
So it's like, okay, yeah, Mike McCarthy, or not Mike McCarthy, what's his name? head coach for the
Matt
LaFleur.
You should've
He's talking
known
about
that,
how they just need to
LaFleur.
add another running back into the mix. And what did they do? They went out and added another running back to the mix. Didn't give him any more weapons. We did that stat last year. We were looking at Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. It was like outside of that 5 touchdown game or something stupid he had, he was like not even in the top 12 quarterbacks.
It was bad.
Just arrows aren't pointing towards him throwing the ball more at all. I mean, he might throw the ball less. He still threw it 570 times last year, which isn't that bad. But this coach wants to run the ball with 3 running backs now. No weapons added. I'm just not excited. I think, and yet the rushing yardage has gone down for him over the last few years. That's what used to keep him like afloat. So now if you take that rushing away, and you're kind of, I'm not excited.
Dude, I go back. I go back and forth with this so much because it's like you see all the coaching changes, you see like how they're drafting and kind of like how they're kind of moving away, but it just seems like through Brett Favre all the way through Aaron Rodgers, it kind of was like the same style play, like passing team. It's like the most passing team in the NFL just historically, you know what I mean? So it's like as much as I like agree with you, I have such a hard time being like, yep, this is a complete change of the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean?
That was with the old coach.
Well,
Last
no,
year,
I know, but I mean, Mike McCarthy wasn't there when Brett Favre was there.
Maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think Mike McCarthy's that old, but you know what I'm saying?
60 or something.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, it was Mike Holmgren.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Holmgren. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? It's like there's like teams have certain styles of play, over time they kind of run that same. Like the fans become fans of the style of play. Like the Steelers are fans of a team for like blocking and for fucking defense and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like they're known for that. So like but I agree with you. I just have a hard time thinking like everything's gonna change.
Well, you're so used to it. It's like this is Aaron Rodgers, is one of the best
Right.
quarterbacks in the NFL. But I mean, like I tell you all the time, I try
Proceed
and play
with-
with the littlest emotion as possible. because-
Proceed with caution for sure.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, they were middle. They went from every year. I went back and looked at like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They were like top 5 in passing. To your point, Mike. Last year they were middle of the road. They were kind of like balanced. I don't even think they're going to be middle of the road this year. I think they're going to be more probably top, 8 in rushing versus bottom 20 in pass attempts. So it's just, yeah.
I mean, one thing I could say with him is I think it kind of hurts him for so many years. He had Jordy Nelson and then even Devontae Adams. At
Greg
one point they were
Jennings.
both like top 10 wide receivers. And then last year, I know the numbers kind of took a dip. Obviously, new offense, so that's going to have some impact. But I mean, no more Jordy Nelson, like I said. And then Devontae Adams, who's been a savage for a couple years now. He gets hurt. He's gone for a big chunk. So yeah, I think they did lean on the running game a lot because I mean, who you throwing the ball? They were throwing the ball to like Kumaro and Lazard, and MVS was non-existent. They have Equanimus St. Brown. He's just non-existent. So I am a little shocked though that they didn't go out and address. They went out and signed Devin Funchess in free agency.
Right.
But I mean, outside of that, they really did nothing to help him. And it's kind of like they go out and draft a quarterback in the first round, trade up for him. And then they draft a third running back, AJ Dillon, out of Boston College. So it's just like, what are they doing? I actually saw something. It was kind of a rumor. They were saying that 2021 Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I actually
I saw
heard that too.
Patriots,
I heard that too.
So I actually,
I
we
heard
were all
that,
from
but I love
Vegas, so
Patriots.
we're not Raider fans, but obviously we live in Vegas, so we're gonna root for him. But I would love that. So
That'd be dope.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he wants to go out one last year and just if he knows this is his last year, he just wants to stick it to the coaches and everyone be like, yo, I'm still fucking Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna go out
That'd be dope.
on top. But
Yeah.
it's tricky with the lack of receiving weapons. I mean,
you go.
there's no tight end there,
Devontae Adams.
and outside of Devontae Adams, who's obviously going to eat and do his own thing, as you see on the highlight right there. But outside of that, yeah, he really has no one to throw the ball to.
I'd be so mad if I was Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of just football for a second. It's like you see these other teams going out and like, the Eagles are upgrading for Carson Wentz. You got, the Raiders, they're going after weapons.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys don't even need a receiver, and they're just like, oh, we'll just take a third one.
I mean, at that point, they should have called the Packers and be like, yo, you want this pick?
Yeah. And then they do literally nothing to help Aaron Rodgers. Oh, they get him a blocking tight end. He's probably like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
He's like a fullback or whatever the fuck he was.
yeah,
I mean,
terrible.
we have him at 9, right? Is that 9?
Yeah,
So I looked. That's where I had him, and I should have him probably lower, but I went to look and just to make sure the numbers right. So how many picks did Jameis have last year?
The mostest.
30.
30. Okay, so I went to look. Aaron Rodgers has had 32 interceptions in the last 6 seasons
I
combined.
thought you were gonna say ever. I was like,
No. In his last 6 seasons, he has 32 picks, and he only has 12 in his last 3. He only had 4 picks last year, so I think that's probably, looking back, is why I had him so high, because the passing numbers weren't there, but at least dude doesn't turn the ball
His
over.
touchdown to interception ratio is
It's still stupid. So
Like,
if
the best.
if the O-line could do better, if they can, maybe it's the offense, whatever it is, because they still went 13-3. It's not like they're the worst 13-3 team I think ever. But
Yeah, I agree.
but I mean, if they could figure out the offense, at least he's not like doing like Phillip Rivers where he started just forcing the ball. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't doing that. If they can just scheme dudes open or have guys get separation, maybe he can go back to what he was. I mean, because like I said, he's not turning the ball over at least. Like he's making right decisions at least. It's just the completion percentage isn't there because dudes can't get open. But he's not forcing it. So I'd like to see him make that jump unless they play the 49ers. But other than that, yeah.
I think it's gonna be like what Mike said though. Like he's got that name value, so like you're gonna be doing your draft, and like Mahomes, Lamar Jackson will go, maybe Russell Wilson goes, and all of a sudden someone's gonna panic. They're gonna be like, oh fuck, I want Aaron Rodgers is still
Aaron.
there, like in the 3rd round or 4th round or whatever, and they'll snag him, and like you're gonna be sitting there thinking like, bro, like. There's still some
be
good
like,
quarterbacks on the board, or you pass on these good receiver, or tight end, or whoever, you know.
Yeah, and in dynasty startup leagues, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this would be like a good buy low because he's older. People probably, aren't really trying to get him in dynasty startups, but he's someone worth taking a shot and maybe getting another couple good years out of while you still get like a young quarterback and let him develop. So, I mean, from a dynasty standpoint, it's crazy to think that time's flying, but he's 36. So.
yeah, I mean, he could slide into my 12, 13, 14 range, but I left him off of the thing for. It's almost like what you said, for a reason, just to kind of like, if people are watching this episode, Mike's point, like, oh, the name Aaron Rodgers is like, I did it. So, if you're listening to this episode, it makes people
I'm
think.
not knocking you on it because, like I said, I think, I feel like once you get past like 8 and it's like 9 through 15, I think
all
it's wide
subjective.
open. Honestly, I think it's wide open. It's kind of just what offense can maybe take a leap forward. Maybe some offense will have regression. I mean, it's
someone
just,
could put Goff up there and be like, I think the Rams are going to go back to their thing.
Yeah.
I did it for like a listener standpoint, like so people listening kind of could hear us talking about how it's like, oh, like they might be stuck on the name Aaron Rodgers, like we're kind of saying. It's like I did it, so it's like, hey, think about actually what's going on, what could happen, kind of giving the listeners the possible downside of Aaron Rodgers,
100%.
so they're not going into their drafts and just thinking Aaron Rodgers is the same. I'm giving them an outlook that is a real possibility. So that's why I did that on purpose.
Or if you're a Packer fan and have Homer syndrome.
but it just shows you each year things change in fantasy.
You heard it here first. Aaron Rodgers sucks.
He likes Scotch, though. So
We'll jump into number 10 here. We got Matt Ryan from the Falcons. I feel like Matt Ryan's been in the league for 15 years.
Bro,
so, I mean,
he's been in the league,
It's got to be.
what was it,
fuck ton of
05,
years.
7? Oh, fuck ton.
it's just crazy because
07
he's
for
like
Boston College.
he's like the
Fuck
Dr.
ton.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde of fantasy football
Jekyll and
quarterbacks because
Hyde.
like he'll have like.
Dude.
I mean, just listen to his
man.
quarterback finishes the
I
last
can't
10
wait for you to
years.
say this. This is
So
what I was
last year it finishes quarterback 11, then 2, then 15, then 2, then 19, then 7, then 15, then 7, then 8, and then 8.
He's the ping pong master.
Bro, he's just all over the place. So you don't know what you're gonna get from him, but I mean,
took him at 15 and 19 after back-to-back twos. That's why I fucking hate him.
yeah,
What did he finish last year again?
11.
11.
Ooh,
I feel like Tyler loves Matt
Two
Ryan.
next year. Hey,
But
next year
here's the
gonna
thing.
finish
Here's the
two.
reason why I'm
God
a
damn
big.
it.
I am right. I do. I'm a big Matt Ryan like
because he should have been a Dolphin.
Hey,
That's why.
It's true. Hey, I said
should have been a Dolphin
Hold on, before I finish
1000%.
this, I said in my top 12 rankings, and the very first response was, no Matt Ryan.
That's literally what I texted him.
That's what he said.
That's what I texted him.
Not nothing
But I mean,
else.
when you look at these numbers, though, like I said, he's been in the league for longer than this. But I mean, 9 straight years with 4,000 or more passing yards. So you like seeing that floor of okay, he's going to give me at least
sure.
4,000. And then 7 of those 9 years, he's had 25 or more passing touchdowns. So if you're telling me my quarterback's going to get 4,000 yards, 25 passing touchdowns, and he's throwing the ball to the likes of Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, I mean, I like seeing that. I like the addition to Hayden Hurst. I was really big on Hayden Hurst. Coming out of college, I thought he would be the tight end to step up in Baltimore.
Me too.
Obviously, it was Mark Andrews, but I mean, Hayden Hurst was drafted in the first round, so he's got that talent. So we can see if he can take over that Hooper role in that offense. I mean, you got Gurley out of the backfield who can catch. I mean, I still think. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what he gets. I think he finishes more in that 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 area. I don't think he makes that jump to the 2 like he has. But I mean, this guy's he's been all over the place.
Who knows with them with that offense? He could finish top 7 or top 5 and piss everyone off.
Yeah, he's like, I might move him out of my top 12 come season time. There's some things I gotta look at. They did go pretty much all defense in the draft. They drafted a center, and I think that's it, and a punter in the 7th round. Which,
I mean, they play what? They play the Saints twice. Who I mean, they upgraded a little bit. The Saints got Malcolm Jenkins back, so I mean, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
The Bucks D is actually pretty good. They're like kind of slept on. So the Panthers D is not that great.
Yeah.
So he'll eat then, but
Well, yeah. What I was saying, getting at with that though, is last year the Falcons defense, it was like you started any quarterback almost that was playing the Falcons defense. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year.
Yeah.
They lost like their first round linebacker. They lost one of their stud linebackers too last year. And we were talking about how they get beat up on defense
Jones.
every year. So
Always.
you get these additions back. You get this influx of young talent on the defense. Just saying, it could be a middle of the road defense.
Yeah.
And like the touchdowns have always been all over the place. It's been like, I don't know. It's just kind of inconsistent with him. So it's
But 25 plus 7 in the last 9 years. So at least the floor is 25, pretty
25,
much.
yeah.
well, 3 years ago he went for 20 touchdowns and only 4,000 yards. So that's an outcome that's in the realm of possibilities.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So that's what.
How old is he?
yeah.
Like, he's like 30.
He's gonna be 35 this year.
He's one of those guys where, like, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me say it plenty of times. Like, I'm a kind of guy where, like, I like to wait for quarterbacks, and I'll draft 2 quarterbacks, and I'll play the matchups. He's kind of maybe that's why I like him so much, because he's usually one of those guys. I'll draft like a Matt Ryan, and then I'll grab like a Drew Brees if he falls, or like I'll draft a Matt Ryan, and then I don't know.
Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford, yes, he's actually next on the list. But I'll grab 2 of these quarterbacks, and it's like, okay, now if the matchup's good, then I'm playing Matt Ryan. But if not, I'll flip flop it to my.
Would you do Aaron
second
Rodgers
quarterback.
or Matt Ryan?
That's tough.
I know they're 8-9. They're 9-10.
I don't know.
Low-key, I think the next guy we're going to talk about is who I'd probably take afterwards. I was actually looking at some numbers on him
Stafford?
before
Bro.
we
my
jump
guy.
in. So, yeah, we could just jump into him, actually. Stafford here
Let's do
comes
it.
in at 11
Man.
from the Lions.
Underrated, I feel like.
He was a guy where, like, right before we jumped on this, I was making these lists for everybody, and I was like, ooh, you know what? I think I'm gonna put Stafford on my list, actually. I was looking at some numbers, and I was actually surprised at what he was able to do last year in the small sample size. Got hurt halfway through the year, only played 8 games, had the back injury, so missed that. But if you would have played a full 16-game season, he was on pace for basically 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. He would have had 10 interceptions, but
Yeah, exactly.
over a 3-to-1 interception touchdown ratio is pretty good. That actually would have put him as a top 5 quarterback finishing that year. You got weapons like Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones. Hawkinson. They drafted another tight end. Was it Hunter? Or they actually picked him up. Hunter Bryan, right?
He was Kenny's. I think it was Kenny's.
Dude's
right?
a beast. Yeah, no, he was like a top 70 talent, but they said something about his knee that fell off. But yeah, dude is a monster.
So you get another.
And they got DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, and then you get DeAndre Swift out of the backfield who can make things happen. So this offense could be exciting to watch. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah,
on Stafford?
I probably was like looking at the numbers again. I'm like, I don't know if I have Matt Stafford over Matt Ryan. I think I do actually. It might have been.
Yeah, I think you might have probably. Yeah.
I think I did.
I had him at
I was like, if I
12.
don't, I would. Yeah, it was just. Kind of the reason I had Marvin Jones as like a highlighted player last year is I was like, this team's going to be trailing in a lot of games, and I think you're going to probably see a lot of the same again.
Yeah.
5,000 yards was in his reach last year. Like you said, almost 40 touchdowns. He's got Kenny Galladay. He still has Marvin Jones, who's probably going to be a value again because he's probably going to go in like the 9th, 10th round again.
For sure.
Like he always
does. So, I like Matt Stafford as that safe, but high upside week to week.
Yeah.
Because there's those weeks where he'll just launch it up to Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones for 3 touchdowns in a game.
Or if they're down by like 2 or 3 touchdowns, Stafford will just go off.
He'll just go, whoop, and then those good fucking
I
dudes
think
just
the
jump
worry
and
with
catch
him
it.
is the back going to hold up.
Yeah.
But as long as the back's good to go and he's out there, the ceiling is through the roof.
Yeah, and I don't think they even drafted. Did they draft a quarterback or maybe late? I think.
A quarterback?
To it's basically the team saying.
I don't know if you said a quarter or a cornerback.
Oh yeah, quarter. Because it's basically the team saying they're a little worried. I don't remember if they did.
I think they might have signed one in the free agency. I think they might have got like Chase Daniels.
But they didn't go out and make a splash for anyone, so it's kind of telling you they probably feel confident about his back if they're not making a big. They didn't make a 2nd round move or a 3rd round move for a quarterback, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking right now. Their draft, they took one. The whole, I don't know if you watched the draft, but the whole NFC North literally had a contest of who could have the worst fucking draft between the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions. They were just like, they were running like a 3-man weave down court, and they're like, you had the worst draft until they got to the end of the court. And the Vikings were just like watching them with their 11 draft picks or whatever, just laughing because they all sucked. But they only took one O lineman in the draft. I don't know if they're gonna address it in free agency, but yeah, like we said, the fact that their O-line was their defense was worse, but their O-line was not great, and Stafford was still putting up numbers. He's just a natural quarterback. He's not new to this. He's true to this.
Yeah.
He's been in the league for so long. I mean, he's been with Calvin Johnson on bad teams. He's been on a winless fucking 0-16 team. So, like, he's seen all this. This is probably, he was like 2-14. He's like, shit, we're good. We're solid. So
He'll be one of those guys where, like, okay, like I said, you're going to get these names like Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson. They're going to go because of the name value. But, like, you get a guy like Stafford who fell off halfway through the year last year. People are going to sleep on him. He's probably going to go in, like, the 10th round
higher
or
than
later.
He's probably going to go later. Than
he's going to outplay his ADP for sure. Just
and it's like
because
one of those guys where it's like, okay, like you take him, and then maybe if you're worried about the back, then maybe, like I said, maybe you draft a second quarterback and you just play the matchups. But I mean, for all you know, if you could hit the jackpot, if he throws for 4,500 and 35 touchdowns, I mean,
you're good.
Yeah.
And the thing
and
is,
you get him
even
in the 12th round.
4,530 is solid. I mean,
I'd like to think we're like pretty, active on like looking up players. Shit, when I was doing the rankings, I was going through QBs and I'm like, man, I was like, wait, I almost forgot about Stafford. Like, and I'd like to think we like look at QBs like,
dude, you might be able to get him at like QB like
dude,
16,
you can get
17.
him, dude. So fucking, you can get who you like and take him as a handcuff, just in case, and then trade one. Like, I think Stafford's gonna, if he plays a full 16, he could be top 10.
Like in a real draft, people are going to take Tom Brady over him for sure.
For sure.
Wouldn't surprise me if you see even Jared Goff or Jimmy G go over him potentially.
Yeah, Jimmy
Wouldn't
G,
surprise me if you get people jumping on the Baker Mayfield, with over him.
Yeah.
Where did you have him?
Stafford?
Yeah.
I think I had him at 10.
10. Yeah, I would probably move
But
him up more.
I think I would move him up.
Yeah, I had him
more.
at 12. So
Yeah.
But
These
yeah,
are
it's-
early rankings because we're still doing so much
Yeah.
research, so we're still gonna
for sure.
fluctuate up and down with some of these guys.
I hope training camp opens up soon so we can get, that'll be good. That'll be
Yeah.
some good shit.
Yeah, it'd be one of the good late round quarterbacks who we're always preaching on. Wait for quarterback. He'll be like one of the main guys.
So if I'm a draft, so you guys are going to feel like these fuckers are targeting Matthew Stafford. Probably. We're all going to be looking at each
so
other.
hard doing a draft.
Like, I'll be
move.
looking at, I'll have your sheets, and I'll be like, all right, no quarterback for Tyler, no quarterback for Andre or Mike.
Oh, bro. Hey, at least you won't have to worry about me
Matthew
taking
Stafford
Jordan
would be a player.
Jordan Reed this year.
But here's the thing: like sometimes when you're in a draft, it's like okay, maybe his ADP is the 12th round, right? But you're saying like you just said, Andre, like he's gonna outperform that.
Tenfold.
Yeah, tenfold. So it's like okay, even if you're reaching for him. Like if you have a better grade, I know Anthony said this too. Like there's a difference between like an ADP and like a draft grade. So like maybe his ADP is the 12th round, like I said, but maybe Anthony's got like an 8th round grade on him. So it's
Yeah,
like all
that's
right,
what
like you're gonna go for the guy who you want, and I mean if you hit, then you look like a genius. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you always for people listening, you're better off having who you like instead of whatever the fuck the app tells you, whatever app you use, so that we're not dogging any app. You're better off looking and seeing who you like and then it's who's going to tell you you're wrong? Because you're right. Someone can be like, oh, shit, he's this round. And then at the end of the season, he's like top 8. And you're like, oh, that's weird. Because
I mean, look at Dak, bro. He was going 14th round, I think.
Yeah, I got him like 11.
He was going pretty
12
deep.
yards.
He's going in the double-digit rounds, and he finishes the QE too.
Yeah.
I mean, you get guys who go undrafted. John Brown,
I was gonna
undrafted
say,
last year,
I
top
took-
20
I
wide
took him in
receiver.
I took him in the 12th round in our other league.
I feel like John Brown was our whole
Me and
podcast
you,
last year.
yeah, me and you fuck with. I know he's always fucked with John Brown too.
And free agency episodes. Okay, John Brown's the wide receiver 12. He's still
It's like
there.
it was
I
like
started him, dude. He was consistent and especially in standard leagues, he was even more valuable.
Yeah.
Dude, but it was like every episode though. It was like every episode we started the episode off with Tyler being like, "All right, guys, John Brown alert. He's still available in this percentage of leagues, so go fucking pick him up."
He's like he's still getting you a solid 8 to 10 in standard leagues.
But that just to that point. But all right, so we'll jump into the last guy here. We got Tom fucking Brady of the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Fuck him, Brady.
Tom fucking Brady. I didn't have Tom Brady ranked.
Yeah, I had him too high.
I'm a Tom Brady hater.
I was
I'll
like, is that a
admit
biased?
it. Yeah, I'm a Tom Brady
That's
hater.
weird. Yeah.
But I was also watching some things like sometimes like you get these quote unquote dream teams. You get all this in NFL whatever. All these teams are stacked
Super
and whatnot.
teams.
Yeah, super teams, and then like they just don't really perform to everyone's expectations. And I'm not saying Tom Brady's terrible.
Browns.
Yeah,
Browns are a good example for
Eagles.
sure. Yeah, Eagles a couple years back. Yeah, for sure. So it's like I mean he's got the
Cardinals this
weapons,
year?
but I mean I don't know. What do you guys think? Was I the only one who didn't have Tom Brady ranked?
I don't know. I think I had him at 11.
Yeah, I had him at 7, which is probably a little too high.
No,
I
don't
didn't have
agree with
him.
you.
You didn't have him ranked. Why didn't you have him ranked?
For that reason, but honestly, I was thinking about it, and it's if you
For
look
what
it off
reason?
For what Tyler was saying is that like sometimes
the
these
super
dream
teams.
teams seem a little bit too good to be true. I mean, the dude's fucking old as dirt. I
mean, damn, how old's your dad, bro? I hope he's not listening. Just kidding.
he does.
That
Sorry, Dad.
He's fucking old as dirt. He's like 40.
he's younger than Brady. Okay, so
He's
not dirt.
44.
No, but
That'd be
like I
crazy
mean,
if Mike's like 20.
in like college
Like
years,
12.
but in college years though, like.
But yeah,
Or, I
no.
mean,
So
not
what you're
college
saying?
years,
So
in
just
football
you
years.
just think it's kind of
That too, but honestly, I was thinking about it, and you can't deny the fact that there is so many offensive pieces. Like even if he just, it's like, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it. I just can't see Tom Brady throwing for the amount of touchdowns Pat Mahomes does in a good year, or I don't know.
So I guess
Maybe he could be 12, like where we have him in the consensus
is
rankings.
TB12.
TB12.
TB12 maybe.
Ooh, hey, clip
Is it
that.
fate?
Hey, well,
I don't know.
Here's my question: is it that you don't like Tom Brady that much, or do you just like other dudes more?
Yeah, I just like other dudes more, and I
sure.
think that it goes to the same thing as like his name is so fucking big that like, I mean, dude, even girls who have watched like 2 seconds of any type of football game know who Tom Brady is. So it's like, if that being said, is no matter what type of league you're in, redraft, dynasty, there's gonna be some fucking idiot that's gonna take him. Dude, he's got Gronk, bro, Mike Evans, bro, Chris Godwin, bro. You're gonna hear that shit at your draft.
Yeah,
and so like I'm just. Value wise, where I'm not, and especially in redraft leagues, I'm not going to get him where I want him. And he throws the ball like 5 yards.
I mean, it depends on where you can get him at or where he's available.
Could you
but-
really see him like tossing bombs to Chris Godwin and fucking Mike Evans?
I
and
mean,
shit?
he would. Josh Gordon's a similar player, so
I could see
I
him.
mean,
he was-
he'll
he
do
was
like
throwing it up
one.
to Josh
He'll
Gordon,
do
so-
like one play a game where he'll toss it out. Like when Antonio Brown, he had one decent play like that. I just don't. He throws them all underneath. He does what? He's not going to get you any rushing yards, really.
I mean, he just threw a ball deep
Right here as he
there.
goes to the bomb.
Well, yeah.
well,
but-
no, I mean,
Well, this
here's
is
the
like
thing.
ultimate career highlights, and this
know,
is like
yeah.
look, that was underneath the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I mean, he
it's
ran for the touchdown. But
Arian's system is I know we talked about this for a minute. It's not going to be Arian's full system. Brady's going to go to the line and do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, it's not going to be predicated on everything. Arian
Yeah,
says.
but it is still a different system than he's been playing in New England. More of a pass-heavy offense than New England's been. More of a red zone pass-heavy offense than they've been. I mean, who are you going to trust at the red zone too? Let's just talk about this for a second. Ronald Jones and fucking the guy who can barely get 4 yards. Or
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn or Tom Brady. I think I'm going to trust Tom Brady,
Tom
Chris
fucking
Godwin, and the
Brady.
weapons he has
Tom
there.
fucking
So,
Brady.
I don't think I'll get any shares of Tom Brady. To your point, because I have him at 10. But he's probably going to go way ahead of 10 in
For sure.
90% of drafts.
Yes, I mean, there's always going to be somebody who
You're
thinks
gonna.
he's going to ball.
I think you can get Kyler Murray ahead of Tom Brady.
Maybe because there's
I
gonna be
think-
someone out there like you said who's gonna be like Gronk's back, bro. Like he's got Mike, like you said, everything
Yeah.
Mike just said. Someone's gonna be like, bro, dude,
There's
they're gonna,
always
he's
a
gonna crush
fucking
it.
idiot.
They're gonna be like, oh, if Jameis could do it, then Brady could do it.
Brady's the GOAT, dude.
But one thing I can say with
6
Jameis
Super
is like,
Bowls, dude. You know.
Jameis put up what 5,030 plus touchdowns. But
Yeah.
was that a
And
tribute to the fact that their defense wasn't very good? One, and then
it's a start,
two,
yeah.
he would throw a pick six to start every single game, so they were behind every single game. So he's got to throw to keep up every single game. I think Brady, this defense is going to be a lot better than people expect. I mean, they got a solid D line, they got some solid backers.
they finished. They were like top 10 the last like 8 weeks of the
Yeah,
season.
so I think this defense is going to be a lot better, and I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball as much. And Brady's obviously not going to turn the ball over as much as Jameis did. So, I mean, is he going to put up? I mean, what do you?
I have him for 44 and basically 4,400 yards and 32 touchdowns.
Okay.
I don't have him for a massive yardage, but it is going to be. I mean, he hasn't thrown for under 4,000 yards in the last 3 years, and that's in New England, like I said, who's not even as pass heavy. as
Even
as
last year,
Tampa Bay.
they were atrocious with
Yeah.
weapons.
And still 32 touchdowns, 29, 28, 30, 20. So he's been throwing still a high touchdown percentage, and he's just got the best outside weapons you want to say he's had in years. I mean, who have they really given him in New England?
No,
lately?
I mean,
feel
he's
you.
got the best. I mean, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The
Like,
guy one's like an Edelman on steroids.
well, you saw his percentage was at 8 or was it like 15 to 20 yards downfield. He was really good. Like, he doesn't have to throw it deep, but he still has the guys that can just can do the yards after the catch for him. They drafted Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota who can do some good yak. You got Scotty.
Still have OJ Howard.
OJ
OJ Howard,
still,
who's
yeah.
still there. They got Scotty Miller.
Yeah, this is
from Bowling
arguably
Green.
the best weapons he's had.
He's ever had. Yeah, he has.
I want to say
he has a
almost
4-4 slot guy. Like he's never had a 4-4 slot guy.
Yeah, but there's also you're saying Chris Godwin's on steroids. You know who else is on steroids? Bill Belichick as a coach. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've never seen Tom Brady not be with Bill Belichick. So like obviously he's learned a lot from him, but this will be like the
We're gonna
two
sign
tests. Yeah.
But
So it's like there's just a lot of factors here.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong though. Like if you drafted, if you draft someone like Josh Allen and then somehow like Tom Brady's there, or like I don't mind throwing him on like switch him out on matchups and whatnot, have him on the team
like a 2 quarterback.
Yeah,
kinda.
like I'm not saying don't fucking draft him. He's a bust or some shit like that. Like I think he's still amount to, like you said, like high touchdowns and whatnot. I just it's just the value. That's all. For
Yeah,
redraft
no, I
leagues.
agree. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I just don't wanna
think
get-
I'll have him in any teams.
I just don't want to get people twisted thinking
Yeah.
like I'm saying, oh, Tom Brady's shit. Like we all don't really like him, but
Let me say this though. So this is just a random thought, and this is gonna
Like
be like
laughing before you say
this is gonna be like a homer thing. So obviously Tom Brady is the GOAT. We can say that, but he doesn't play very good in Miami. Maybe it's the temperature, the humidity, and whatnot. Now he's playing in Tampa. You think the climate change is good? I mean, people don't really think about that too much. Like, is the climate change going from Foxborough to Tampa Bay now being hot and humid all the time? Is that going to affect his game
I think
a little
that's
bit?
that-
I mean,
It affects his bones.
I think that's
It's possible. Those
I
bones
mean,
are
he
as
might
old as
have,
dirt.
dude. He has Alzheimer's, dude. He's straight up Joe Biden right now, man. That fool is fucking breaking and entering into the wrong houses on accident. That fool is old. He's gonna throw the wrong team. They wanted another Jameis Winston. They got it. He's gonna be thrown to the wrong team. He's not gonna know what's up.
I mean, mostly the reason older people move to like some of the drier states is because like he's not this old. I'm kind of joking. But, like mostly speaking, like drier climates are better for your bones and arthritis. Like the more high humidity or like.
so he's going to play till he's 50 now.
So Tua is gonna be forever old, huh? Playing, just keep playing. Yeah, I think the Miami thing attributes to the design of your stadium, how the away team is just baking in the sun.
That could be it too.
I think it's
Just
more of
like-
the design of
be
the
it.
stadium and the heat versus
they
just
do that.
it
They
being
just have
hot.
the team's baking.
They're just like, hey, you know what we can do? Fucking make
Fry
them
'em.
melt.
Hey, what happened to the away team's
They're like,
visor?
Hey, they're like, let's put like a magnifying glass type of thing far
Right,
away.
right, right.
They just close the dome. They have glass over
Everyone's
it.
skeletons.
Well, remember what the Falcons did? They use artificial sound in their dome. So I mean, if you're
The Vikings literally have a fucking big horn.
It goes.
Yeah, that would make me.
For sure, yeah. So Tom
Fart.
Brady, I mean, he's still Tom fucking Brady.
I mean, he's top 12. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you guys want to
I'd
do?
be happy if I
We
got
have
him. To Mike said, like, it's my QB2 in that range, but I'm probably never going to get him there.
your guys, T.
My
He's
God.
not
yeah.
my ride or die.
Yeah. I'm never going to get him at anywhere from 10 to
No,
12.
he's gonna. I think he's gonna be one of those name values. He's gonna go way higher than
Yeah,
than. I
agreed.
think I'd be
Plus, there's
comfortable.
Patriot fans in every league, and they'll take him.
Mike, you got the honorable mention list. You know, throw it up there.
Yeah. I can do that real quick.
So here's a couple guys. We have the honorable mentions. Just a couple guys that were listed that other of us didn't have listed, or just some guys that we kind of like. That, like I said, I feel like once you get past a certain number, it's kind of like, man, it's wide open. You know,
Yeah, it's
9 through 15
opinion.
could be any one of these quarterbacks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these quarterbacks randomly
Or more.
pop up in there. Yeah, or more. Yeah,
so
there's
we
you
got
still have some
1,
pretty
2,
good
You
quarterbacks
said
who.
Jared Goff. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if
Yeah.
finished
He's
around
up there.
12. He's done it.
6 more. Who else? I had Carson Wentz at 10. Did anybody else have him up there? Or
I
was
had
that
him
the
at 12.
12?
I did not have him ranked.
No. So
I did not either.
T, you want to go first and tell us why you didn't, or you want me to tell you why we did?
I'll just say why I didn't have him in there, just because they drafted Jalen Hurts, and I don't think he just sits on the sideline. And I'm also not really impressed with the weapons they got. I'm not the biggest on Rager. I mean, I know they got a couple of the speed guys. I actually like John. Is it John Hightower out of Boise State?
John Hightower,
I think
yeah,
he's
he's-
actually going to be the rookie.
Yeah, because you don't like Quez Watkins when I sent you his
Quez-
film either.
He's just another fast, shifty guy. But John Hightower is actually fast, but he's a big body guy, 6'4". He could actually replace Alshon Jeffrey in that offense. So, yeah, John Hightower is a guy, just a name to keep an eye on. But, yeah, I just wasn't really impressed with what they did to give him weapons. I mean, I do like Miles Sanders a lot. You know, we were talking about Miles Sanders on the ride over here, actually.
Stay away, Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
Son of a bitch.
yeah.
I don't care if you get 5.
But like I said,
injuries a game.
I would not be
Stay away.
surprised because I think I can't remember. You probably have the numbers, but for the lack of weapons that he had compared to the numbers he put up was impressive.
Yeah, that's like pretty much why I have him up. Yeah, so perfect segue. Yeah, so he became the only or the first. It said the first player ever, but it's obviously quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards without having a receiver have 500 yards. So how you're saying Deshaun Watson's so good, he's never thrown for 4,200. Well, dude just threw for over 4,000 without having a receiver have more than 500 yards. So,
But was that a test too? Like, because I feel like his number one receiver is a tight end.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he used a lot of Miles Sanders because
Almost
he had 500 receiving yards. He had or right around there like 400 or 500 yards, and he had Ertz, you have Goddard. But I mean, he did what he had to do because they were using Greg Ward Jr., who was like playing in like the USFA fucking football leagues.
Yeah, he was flag football.
You had our JJ
player of the year.
Arcega-Whiteside, like so Nelson Aguilar, who couldn't catch babies from a fire. Like he had all these dudes that were good. He had Jordan Howard, who's not even a running back. He's a ball carrier, bro.
Well, chill, dog. That's our running back, though.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah,
chill.
my bad. So the fact that he did all of that, and come on, bro, 4,000 yards is no joke to
No,
do
not at
with.
all.
So I just think, and mind you, Deshaun Jackson had one game, the first game of the season, where he had like 5 catches for like 142 touchdowns, and then
Yeah,
didn't play the rest of the season. So I just think if someone could just stay fucking healthy, I think he'll be good, dude. I mean, just if he stays healthy and his receiving doesn't get depleted, as you would say,
Depleted.
don't repeat or deplete. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but I think if just health is on their favor, which is a lot for most teams, but I just think the upside is there for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some weapons, you could say now. At least we get like the caliber might not
Better
be as,
than what it was.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. 1,000%.
Greg
Better than
Ward
what it was.
Greg Ward
Yeah.
ain't playing no more.
the caliber might not be as
Playing with a JV team last year, basically.
Yeah.
And they got Marquise Goodwin, who's
I was
another
gonna add him
fast
into
ass
their-
dude.
They did, yeah. They have another fast guy. You're getting 2 almost track stars out there, and Deshaun Jackson and Marquise Goodwin. It's only going to help the offense. You still have those double tight end monsters in Dallas Goedert and Ertz. Miles Sanders playing a full season as the pass catching back to, like you said, versus the ball carrier. It is kind of impressive what he did with that bad of a team, and the line's still one of the best lines in the league.
For sure.
Yeah, they're
So
top
there's that.
5.
I was back and forth between like guys like him and Tannehill, but it was just there's the health concerns with him too. He hasn't been the healthiest of guys, but he offers some rushing upside a little bit. You saw that go up a little bit last year versus the year before. So kind of just the line, the better weapons. Deshaun Jackson makes a difference, I think, in the quarterback's yards per attempt. It's just like when quarterbacks have Deshaun Jackson versus don't have Deshaun Jackson, it's something stupid. Like their yards per attempt are like down like 3 yards.
And he's a beast.
So every completion basically is an extra 3 yards with just him on the field alone.
Yeah.
You add Marquise Goodwin, Rager, these other guys. I think they're just better as a whole. So 4,200, 4,300, and 30 touchdowns. That's in the realm of possibility, plus a couple rushing yards. So, but like you say, I won't argue if you want to put any of these guys over him.
And Jason Kelsey said he's retiring after this year. So
Are you not concerned about the Jalen Hurts being drafted? At least, I mean, not to take over the job, but like just to take over. I mean, if let's say they're getting close, and instead of him throwing a 5 to 10 yard touchdown pass to Ertz, it's Hurts who comes in and
so Hurts to Ertz?
Hurts to Ertz. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Or
Hurts
Hurts, he just runs it in, because he could throw the ball. He's not just a rushing quarterback. He
Yeah.
actually throw the ball as well. So you're concerned that maybe that like Hurts will hurt Wentz's numbers a little bit, like
There's
they'll take a
potential
little
for-
bit down.
There's potential for Taysom Hill light, you could say, in a sense.
It could help too, because it's like we said, it's just it's just showing them that it's within the realm of possibility that he could get the ball. Like he might not even touch the ball if he's on the field, but it's just something like to present to the defense. So it could help him. But I mean, Carson Wentz sounded pretty good that they got him. I think he's like chill with it.
He was still a late second round, mid to late second round
Yeah.
pick. So it wasn't like a first. They invested.
It's a smart pick because if he gets hurt,
if he gets hurt, at least they have a solid backup. So
For sure.
But I think there definitely is some place where that could happen. But I'm not too worried about it taking away too much away from him.
Yeah.
here's a good question: how many 500-yard receivers do the Eagles have next year?
7.
What's the number?
You
But
got
they all
500
have
throughout the team.
510 yards.
Yeah, how many? What's the number? Like 1.5? Is that like a 2.5?
I don't know.
Because that's so bad.
John Hightower.
I'm just,
Alshon should get 500.
Alshon can't stay healthy to save his life either.
dude.
They need to bring in a new what is it called?
Trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, are
They
they
need Tom
telling?
Brady's nutritionist or something,
Bro,
dude.
They
Fuck.
need someone to like.
go to the Phoenix Suns and get their training staff.
How about get like a fucking guy who stretches you out or something?
I know,
a
right?
trainer?
I just realized I wasn't playing those highlights the whole time.
For sure.
all
All
good,
right, so we
baby,
jump
go.
into the next guy right here. It's fucking Tannehill time, dude. I'm fucking hyped, dude.
Fucking
See how
drop
hyped
those
we got,
stats, dude. dude.
Oh, I was about
Dude,
to.
get horny. Let
Yeah,
Tyler get horny.
fucking-
Or go ahead. You want to get
No,
horny?
I was just gonna say that Carson Wentz scares me because his knee goes all explodey,
He's got the knee coach.
He's got the knee
and then all of a
exploding.
sudden,
It's all
and then,
exploding.
and then all of a sudden I gotta for a new quarterback, and then it's like it's all fucked, dude.
And you know, I moved him down just because his knees exploding. You know, I want to pass
Yeah,
away.
you heard it here first.
For sure.
Sorry,
All
that's
right,
good. I
so-
didn't want to ruin your
No, you're
Ryan
good. You're-
Tannehill.
you're
I was
good, dude.
saving that.
It's
You're
all
good,
right.
dude.
He still got that trouble.
Yeah.
The blood's still rushing.
Yeah,
he
dude, I'm
needed,
still fucking
he needed
hyped
a second
out
for
on
the
Tannehill.
blood to come down. So it's like,
It's like
It's
a
fucking
fuck.
Tanny
I
time.
blacked out.
It's
I blacked out.
Tanny
What
time.
happened?
Your adrenaline's back.
All right,
to
so we're
normal.
doing these lists and obviously the early rankings, but I had Tannehill at number 10, and then I looked at everyone's rankings, and no one had him in there, and I was
Ryan
like, all right,
Tannehill.
maybe I'm being a little biased.
I think I had him in
I
there.
couldn't. I was remembering the numbers from last year and like how good they were when he came in, and I'm gonna find it so you can clip it, Mike. But we said it. We said he's gonna take over the job halfway through the year.
You did.
Over Marcus Mariota because he's way better than Marcus Mariota. So,
you guys looked at us like we were crazy.
No, you did.
Like,
No,
what?
I remember. I sent. Yeah.
but just since taking over last year in Week 7, he had 18 or more points in 9 of his 10 games. I mean, so you're just looking at a safe, consistent floor week in and week out. And during that stretch, he was actually QB3. So I mean, right behind Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott.
And he's white.
I mean, I know it's second year in the system. I mean, obviously him and AJ Brown, they had the connection. Corey Davis, you know, being the 5th overall pick, hasn't really panned out, but it's still a receiver. We actually
Still a
saw,
good receiver.
yeah, we actually saw when Corey Davis wasn't on the field, we thought AJ Brown would thrive, and actually kind of hurt AJ Brown. You need both those guys,
Yeah.
out there on the offense. They draft your guy out of Appalachian State, Darrington Evans. So quick little shifty back out of the backfield for them. I mean, it's still one of the better offensive lines. In the entire NFL, and that was the one thing that we would preach. Me and Anthony would say, like, you know, he went from Miami, which was, I mean,
Terrible.
bro, like the numbers that he would get sacked was crazy. Like through his first 4 years, he'd been sacked like 80 times more than anyone in the first 4 years of his professional career. Yeah. So to go from a terrible line to a good line, we finally saw, you know, what he was capable of doing. I mean, I don't think QB3 is realistic. Like I said, during that stretch, that's how high it was. But I think he's one of these guys where, like I said, double quarterback, you match someone up. Maybe I'll take a Wentz and a Tannehill, and I'll just play the matchups.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
wasn't mad at that.
And I mean, the thing with Tannehill too, you could say he came into the league pretty raw. I mean, he played receiver, so maybe it just took him a little like extra time to learn the position. Or Adam Gase sucks. Either one. We're not too sure.
Both.
Or both, but he's he's gotten better though. I mean, under that offense, I mean, having Derrick Henry someone you can hand the ball to 30 times.
Well, the one thing that Tannehill was good at was play action. I mean, when you have a guy like Derrick Henry, I mean, you're going to bite on the play action. And sometimes it's all it takes is you throw a slant to A.J. Brown, and we've seen the yak that guy has. You know, he catch a ball and he just takes it. You know, sometimes A.J. Brown's stats are like 3 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, you would.
He's a hard guy to stack because of that, because that's due for regression. His catch to whatever ratio.
AJ Brown was like, "Come on, man!" It's
Dude,
like
he won me a league.
It's like betting those crazy 10-team parlays. You're like, "Come on, man!" You're just like hoping, and then somehow it comes through.
Yeah, but
So-
at the same time,
I think it was like week 14. He only had like 1 catch, but it was like an 80-yard touchdown.
yeah,
I was like,
against
fuck
the
yo, let's
Raiders.
go.
He broke that tackle. It took that bitch to the crib.
And then he didn't do anything the rest of the game. I was like,
That's okay. So like
14 points. Let's ride.
that's a good example of like we can do as much analysis as we want. Like if someone gets enough, you know, targets, all this stuff. But then there's guys like that come out of nowhere, and then they just get that is like the luck part of it.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean.
For sure. That's why you got to look at like snap percentage. At least he's on the goddamn field to get lucky.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you can't catch.
And then
it
when they
you're
see right
trying
here too, Tannehill, I mean, he's offers, like I said, former wide receiver, so he offers a little bit of rushing upside. We actually
sure.
saw that
He's
more compared
athletic.
to Miami. I think he had 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns last year.
So
He's sneaky athletic.
you're saying, so you're
That's what I was laughing
saying,
earlier.
I'm the Tannehill guy, dog. I was hyped, dude.
I mean, I
like seeing him
dude,
do
like I
this.
said, I flip flop between him and Carson Wentz at 12. I mean, I'm not going to argue either of them. I mean, I project their rushing with their passing and touchdown upside, and it's almost basically identical. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I know Tannehill can pretty much. He's stayed pretty healthy for the most part, minus when he got hurt, tore his ACL for that year. That
Yeah.
kind of fucked him up. But
And he was actually doing good. He was doing good that year too.
yeah, he would get beat up. Like Tyler said, he would get like 90 sacks a year, which is like impossible, but he
Yeah.
would do it. And he would just still.
I'm surprised that the guy's still alive.
Yeah,
He's
so
not,
I'm
he doesn't.
gonna-
He probably has CTE.
yeah, twice.
yeah, he was getting sacked like a fucking 70s quarterback. Looked like Terry Bradshaw fucking highlights.
Just,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the touchdown percentage to that point was super high. I think that's going to come down. So that's why I don't, like you said, like he was the QB3, but I don't think any of us are believing he's going to be QB3 again. No. But, with the rushing, with the passing, that offensive line, they did lose Conklin, so it's a little Conklin, whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah. It's a little bit of a concern there at the blind side. So, but, week in and week out, like you said, he's one of those guys, you grab him and you can play him with someone else.
For sure. All right, we're jumping to the next guy here. We got the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike, you're the only one who had Joe Burrow ranked. You had him at 12.
I just
went
had to throw
throwback,
him
dude,
in
with
there.
the Ohio State Joe Burrow. Dude.
Well, it's Heisman highlight. It's a bunch.
Oh, nice. But you had him at 12, and like I said, I feel like any of these guys you can kind of insert and rotate them all around the place. I mean, it's not unrealistic. Why did you have Burrow at 12, Mike?
I just honestly I wanted to throw him in here so we could just talk about him maybe a little bit, partially. And I mean, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I mean, the dude.
He just had the most prolific college season in quarterback in college football history.
I feel like one of us idiots had to put him up there, and I nominated myself.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to say
it was not a flub.
You know what I mean?
I mean, Kenny said he's like his favorite prospect over the last whatever years, like Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow?
Yeah,
I can't
like
remember. But, I mean, the guy's good.
Kenny, allegedly.
Jeb Burrow gonna Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put him in because I think rookies, there's always a little bit of a growth curve for the beginning. So I think he's someone that I don't have to draft, but if he starts to show signs of arrow going up, I could easily pick him up in week 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that.
I just think out of all the rookie quarterbacks to talk about, he's the one that's going to be involved right away, immediately.
For sure.
You could argue maybe Justin Herbert, but he's right now. I think they're going to wait maybe a couple games. I don't know. We'll see. But for a fact, Joe Burrow is their fucking guy right now. Andy Dalton's in Dallas, and yeah.
There's interceptions.
They went from one redhead to the next.
Yeah, I like it. They got
to match the helmets.
You're getting AJ Green back. John Ross. Obviously he's been a kind of a bust, but he's a weapon. You got to account for him on the field. And the guy's super fast. Makes other people look not fast. You got Tyler Boyd. You still have Auden Tate's a big body guy. You got they go out and draft T. Higgins from Clemson, who's I think is going to be a stud wide receiver. I think that's the new Andy Dalton, AJ Green combo for the Bengals going forward for the next 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it may be.
Did you see that article where T. Higgins?
What?
You combine those two numbers. You're like, for the next 5.
But no, he's got weapons. He's got Joe Mixon out of the backfield, and then they drafted left tackle out of Alabama 2 years ago. He didn't even play. He got hurt before the season even started. So you're going to boost that offensive line. You're going to get that guy coming in there. So you're going to have a good left tackle to protect your franchise quarterback. Yeah, I think I like Burrow. He could be one of those sneaky good guys. You get, like I said, you get in the late round, you match up base these guys. You're going to get a matchup one time where Burrow, they're going to be playing against one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, and for all you know, he can go out there and throw for. We saw Danny Dimes have a couple games where we threw for. I think we actually called 4. It a couple times. In certain matchups when he played against these lesser secondaries. Yeah, he would throw for 4+ touchdowns, and we actually called it one week, and he came out and he threw for 4.
I legit started Danny Dimes over Dak Prescott to win the first round of the playoffs for our league.
I see you.
He threw for 4 touchdowns?
4 touchdowns.
Exactly.
It was I barely squeaked by it, or it was either to go to the playoffs or it was something like that right before. Yeah. But hey, like you said, any given week.
Yeah.
It's true.
I like
any
it.
given Sunday.
Joe. I was like, oh, you like that shit. Joe Burrow, he's a rookie. What I've been asking even people outside of this is, do you think he breaks that 27 record that Baker Mayfield had? Because that's the record. He did that 2 years ago. I think he could throw more than 27.
I'd say yes.
So, that's 30. I think he can get to 30 touchdowns if he plays a whole season.
Wait, are you talking about Baker in the NFL?
No, I'm talking about Joe Burrow.
No.
He's talking about breaking Baker's touchdown.
Oh yeah, 27.
I fucking sorry. But I think yes, but also I feel like that stat is kind of stupid because I feel like Pat Mahomes should have that. Well, no, even though it was technically his second year,
Well, no, it's a rookie record, not a rookie in his. Well, the thing is,
because that was his first year.
Yeah, it was like a redshirt rookie.
Oh, I was going to say it's more of a passing league now.
So two-ish to get it next year, right? Because he's going to,
Right. Get what I'm saying though? I don't know.
That's kind of crazy, but like I'm doing an Anthony baseball reference, but a basketball. But that's what happened.
Like Griffin.
No, for Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons got drafted, but he sat out the whole year. and then he played the next year. So technically, it was the second year. But then Ben Simmons won the Rookie of the Year, not Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
And
Blake
Donovan
Griffin.
Mitchell was like, "I'm a rookie. This is your second year. How are you winning Rookie of the Year?"
Yeah, because everyone gave shit to Blake Griffin, and everyone forgets he sat out a whole year. Yeah, I mean, I guess for NFL or for NBA they do that, but I mean, I'm just saying, I think he can break that 27.
Yeah, baseball does that too. If you don't get enough service time.
Or it's like at bats. Yeah, it's an at bat thing. So
Yeah.
You know what, Mike? I don't need to change that. You need to fucking email him right now.
Yeah,
let him
dude.
know.
I don't know. I just think it's not fair, dude. Like, and then Baker's got even a bigger head. That guy needs a fucking smaller head, dude.
yeah, dude.
Should we jump into Baker?
sure.
Or the
Yeah,
next
no,
game?
yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
you want to jump on Baker since we're talking about him?
I mean, we're getting a skip boy.
Because honestly, like,
skip
why would we
skip
skip-
past my guy.
Save
or
the
what?
best
All
for
right,
last.
let's do your guy, dude.
To be
Let's
honest,
do your guy.
to be honest, we could skip your guy, and I would be perfectly fine with that. 'cause-
Damn, dude. Fucking get out.
All right, so you had Big Ben ranked, Mike. I don't think were you the only one who had Big Ben ranked?
For sure, he's the only one that had
I
it.
don't
Yeah, I
think you were
think
biased
so.
at all.
I actually hit
Homer
a Big
pick.
Ben. Big Ben sent me his top 12. He didn't put himself in the top 12. He's like, I got to prove myself. So I want to hear
Bro,
what you
get
have
the
to say.
fuck out of here, dude.
I just want to hear what you have to say because he wasn't down with himself. So
All right,
I
Mike,
just
so
think
Big Ben.
I just think that I've had like Ben in a lot of leagues as a QB2, and it's fucking legit. And you just play him. No, you just play him play him with his matchups. I know. Yeah, right. Okay.
well, home Big Ben. Remember that whole thing
Yeah, but that stat actually got skewed the last like 2 years.
When he had Juju
When he was
and AB.
playing.
when he was playing.
No, because last year he was obviously injured. I just think he's gonna go out on a fucking whip, dude. It's gonna be nuts.
Are you concerned about the elbow? I mean, I know that Anthony and Andre, they're baseball players, so like they know the whole Tommy John surgery. How it's it is a difficult surgery to come back from.
So like I was looking at this as like, okay, do I think Ben Roethlisberger finishes top 12? Yes. Like
I mean, if that's
if
how
he
you
stays,
win,
if he still, if he stays healthy, he does.
you're saying like no
Like
matter
almost
what,
every year.
like by default.
I just think he will. If he stays healthy, he will.
Do you think?
Okay.
I think obviously the injury like hurts him a little bit, but I think yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm being fucking Homer pick right here.
Do you think that your defense?
I'll admit it.
Injuries do hurt. Yes.
Yeah, I just think that every year, dude. I watched this interview with Ben Roethlisberger, and this guy was like, "So man, like, what do you do in the off season to keep your arm fresh?" And he was like, "Nothing." And the guy's like trying to get something out of Big Ben, and he's just like, "Nah, dude, I don't do it." He's like, "I hang out with my kids. I don't know. I don't do anything." So but this year, obviously, he had the surgery.
He's
and
like
shit,
working out
but he's
finally.
actually like doing fucking workouts and like doing all this stuff off season. So he's like taking the injury seriously. It's not like a lot of times he just looks like he. I don't know. He's like a classic fucking steel worker.
He's like Jay
back-
Cutler, dude. He's like a
Just
lazy
works through the
fucking Jay Cutler.
injuries.
I mean, he is 2 years removed from 5,000 passing yards. I think he had
sure.
an AB, man. still.
Yeah, but he also had AB and Juju as a
Yeah,
good
but I
number
mean,
two.
you get Juju.
almost
and
700.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, but you get Juju still.
Yeah,
coming
but he
back
won
and-
the Super Bowls without those guys.
And you get, I mean, you draft Chase
True.
Claypool.
Hines Ward, but-
they did a good in the draft. They draft Chase Claypool, big body guy. Then you get Anthony McFarland, who you could throw a little screen past that guy. He could take 8 yards to the house. And then you get Eric Ebron, who's we saw in Indianapolis. He kind of finally emerged.
Deontay Johnson wasn't bad last year.
Deontay Johnson,
He was
James
actually-
Washington's a guy
and
who
those
can make
guy-
a play for you.
For
Maybe
sure.
And
he's
those
not
guys
very-
Vance
didn't-
McDonald.
They didn't get the ability to play with a fucking competent quarterback.
Are you concerned that this defense will
That's what I
be
was gonna say, too.
lights out? Because I still think this defense is like a top 5 defense. That he's not going to have to put up these crazy passing
That-
numbers. Maybe it's just like an Alex Smith kind of like.
That is true,
just-
but
just,
like
we're
the
in
McFarland
we're,
show.
we're playing against the Bengals, who they've worked on their offense. The Browns have OBJ. They have an insane fucking offense. The Ravens was like one of the top scoring offenses last year. So it's like, yeah, I think as good as our defense is, our division is going to be a hard spot for us to just fucking. We're not going to like as good as our defense is. I don't think we're just going to fucking completely shut out those teams.
for sure.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a fucking battle. And it always is with teams like the Ravens.
I feel like they're mostly defensive battles though with those two. Like I
saying.
feel you
So
guys
it's
always
lower
have
scoring
like,
games.
lower scoring
And
games.
but
Especially with the Ravens specifically, it's like 6-4 or not 6-4, but 6-7.
Bro, it's crazy watching these AB highlights. I forgot.
He's such a beast, dude.
I
Antonio
know.
Brown was so good.
it's such a
I
bummer.
worry so much about that elbow. I mean, even James Talion, who was a pitcher for the Pirates, Pittsburgh, it's like same.
James, yeah.
He was like he was like I'm curious to see how he responds from this.
Yeah.
because he's gotten it twice. I
And,
think.
yeah, and a football is a lot heavier to throw than a baseball.
Yeah.
Like,
And I kind of
bounce-wise.
Yeah, but you like throw your entire arm when you throw a baseball.
Yeah, but I mean, you still got to spin a fucking football.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta make
Tom
sure
Brady.
like that,
Tom
35
Brady's
yards.
barely been throwing the ball for fucking 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean,
He
dude,
also sold the soul of the
a
devil.
25-yard post route with some sauce on it is still tough.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
38.
but
Especially
Tom
when you
Brady
rape girls
hasn't.
in bathrooms
Tom
like
Brady
Big Ben
hasn't thrown
does.
that since fucking the Falcons Super Bowl.
All right, we jump into the next
bullshit.
guy here. We'll stay in the division. There's actually 3 division guys right here in a row. Bengals,
yeah,
Steelers, and then we'll touch on the Baker Mayfield from the Browns. The Baker Mayfield.
the big.
I think I'm probably the highest on Baker Mayfield. I had him ranked at 12. I don't know if anyone else had him ranked. Probably not.
I didn't even consider him actually.
Yeah.
I looked at him and then I went, nah.
Where did you say? Oh, it goes Joe
Technically, I
Burrow.
considered him.
Joe Burrow.
I didn't.
No, I'm
Ben.
not mad at
Big Ben
what,
and
what
then
Tyler will
Baker.
say about
And then
Baker.
Johnny Manziel. Oh,
So
Baker.
it goes Burrow, Ben, and Baker.
Burrow, Ben, and Baker.
Burrow,
yeah.
Ben, and
I'm a
Baker.
little higher in Baker. I mean, I think he'll be one of these guys, like I said, in the later rounds. I could snag him. I think there's. I mean, he comes in his rookie year, comes in like 3-4 games into the year, breaks, like you said, I know he breaks the rookie record for passing touchdowns with 27. And then you got to argue, like, I mean, they got better weapons wise the second year, but what they lacked is they traded away the Pro Football Focus like best guard, Zeitler or whatever his name is. They traded him away to get OBJ or Vernon, the end.
Yeah. Olivier Vernon, yeah.
So I mean, bro, third year, also I think Baker, I think he just got his head was too big, like you said. I mean, he's making more commercials than touchdowns he had at one point, and it's like he had like this rock star mentality of like, oh, I have OBJ, I got Landry, like I'm this rock star, I'm the Heisman winner, like I was the first overall pick. Like I think he just needed like a slice of humble pie
nice
in a
little slap
sense.
in the face.
Yeah, and a little slap in the face. But I mean, bro, you still have Odell.
Yeah,
You still have Jarvis Landry. They go out and get Austin Hooper. Still got Njoku, who's an athletic tight end. I mean, you got a full year with Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb. I mean, and then honestly, they go out and they address the offensive line. They drafted
Jedrick
Willis from Alabama in the first round, and then they go out and sign Jack Conklin from the Titans in free agency. So you kind of just boost that left and right tackle side. So he shouldn't be running around like a chicken with his head cut off anymore. With those weapons, I just think that we kind of saw the floor of Baker last year. I just think it can only get better than what it was.
Do you think that when they were interviewing those linemen, do you think they were like, so have you or have you not ever sold marijuana?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever transported any type of
Illegal
much?
substance.
To where?
that shout out to
And one thing I say about
Cross-state.
Baker is like he is like one of those like cocky, arrogant motherfuckers where like he doesn't like losing. Like he hates losing.
Which is good.
So, yeah, so like he's gonna want to like put up or shut up. He's gonna be like, oh, everyone's talking shit. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna go out there and show you guys. You know what I'm saying? I think there was so much hype with this team that they they thought they were gonna like get handed the trophy before they earned it, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're not.
Yeah, he was. What's it called? He was resting on his laurels. Is that what they say? I don't know if you guys have heard that.
laurel?
Yeah, your laurels. Resting on your laurels. Anyway, I think that's what it's called.
Lanolin.
Yeah, laurels. Yeah, he pretty much. Yeah, he just went off the success from the previous season and just thought, not that he didn't have to work for it, but he thought some of it would come to him. But he realized quickly that not only did he get, he got better, but teams have film on you now, so they know what you like to do too. And he just got wrapped up in, like you said, filming commercials and all that shit. And this is a big year for him for sure, because like you said, they already have a running back who has 5 yards per carry, and you just gave him 2 good old linemen. So
Could be 6.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
what-
I
and
mean,
what-
if he ran for 5 yards per carry with these guys, and you just give him 2 starters, I'm just saying, it's set up for him, dude. They might as well be like the Vikings and work play action and work backwards with.
That who's their coordinator? Kevin
It's
Stefanski.
Kevin Stefanski, which was the Vikings.
That's why I'm
yeah.
that's a little worried about some Bakers because it's
Because they work
he's
backwards.
run defensive
Well, he's,
style, run
he's-
first type of offensive system. So
Yeah.
that's my one worry about putting Baker. I was joking around. I looked at Baker and was like, oh no.
That's what it
because
was.
like you said, you can make an argument that any of these guys could be in the top 12, and he could easily finish in the top 12. It wouldn't surprise me. But my worry ranking him there is the Stefanski system, the line, Nick Chubb, and having Hunt too. This
Yeah.
could be one
Yeah.
of the more run heavy offenses. And I mean, Baker's kind of been like Winston. I mean, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions last
Yeah, a
year.
lot of
So
interceptions.
how do you win football games? Not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
So if he's going to be turnover prone again this year, they might just say, all right, fuck it. Chubb, go rush for fucking
Well, fucking
1,500 yards.
again.
Hunt, go rush for whatever.
Yeah.
And Baker
have
just
2,000-yard
don't
guys.
throw the ball to the other team.
Because I did read
Manziel.
also, because Stefanski is the coach. They do have an offensive coordinator, but they're actually saying that he might be more of like a glorified like quarterback coach, to where Stefanski's going to call the plays for that reason, to where he's gonna see like kind of work with Baker. Obviously, they're trying to make Baker. This is all about Baker. Obviously, if they're gonna get an OC who's really more about a QB, and then you get these O linemen. So, I mean, yeah, they're setting him up. They're like, dude, this is you now. Like, you have Odell, you have Jarvis, you got all these weapons. You have
Hooper. They went and got
You have
Hooper.
Njoku and Hooper.
The Hooper Scooper.
The Hoopers.
So it's like, dude, they could literally run double tight, 2 running backs.
Double tight wishbone.
They could run double tight, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and fucking and with
No
those.
line.
No, just run 5-0 line. What is that? 5? No, that's it, right? You have you got 5-0 line.
We're playing flag
right?
football.
And
Baker's
you have
just
a QB,
fucking running circles.
6. You have 2 running backs,
7, 8.
8, 2 wide receivers. And then fucking, I don't know, a tight end, dude.
Yeah,
And then
3
run
tight
5-0
ends.
line. 5-0 line, dude. What's up?
Flag. Hey, what's wrong, coach? What's wrong? Where's our formation?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like-
our offensive coordinator Andre Navarro said this is a good formation.
Yeah, 14 players in the
smoking
field.
with Kevin Stefanski. So
For sure. No, I just think that last year he had a down year.
yeah.
I think that they added a lot of good pieces to help him. So I think he's gonna do better than what he did.
Yeah, I agree with your
Last year, for
viewpoint.
sure.
I just think they're, like I said, I'm just a little bit more conservative that it's going to be a run-heavy offense.
Yeah.
He needs to go back to being a football player like he was, when he was like trying to prove himself.
Yeah, dude, he's out there cheerleading. It's like, bro, you're a football player.
He needs to be walk-on Baker, not fucking Heisman Baker.
Yeah.
And Odell allegedly had a hernia surgery. I think he did have a hernia.
He needs to
surgery.
stop doing coke off of plates like they saw in that video.
So I mean, if Odell, I've had a hernia, you've had a hernia. It's a motherfucker.
For sure, yeah.
So if you're playing,
I couldn't even fuck when I had a hernia. True story.
He probably
This
got
one
it from
chick I've been
fucking-
trying to fuck for a while. She finally let me hit, and I couldn't even do it.
and he fucking sucks.
I would have done it because
He
you
couldn't
have like 2
even
penises.
Ew.
fuck. I'd have been like, I don't
That's
know.
so gross. All right.
That's for a different podcast.
Yeah. All right, we'll jump into the next honorable mention guy here. We got Danny Dimes from the Giants.
Damn.
Like I said, I mean, I
let's
like
talk
Danny
about it.
Dimes here. I mean, another guy who's kind of just, surrounded by a ton of talent. You got Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate,
Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton. We saw the rookie connection between those two guys, right away. Darius Slayton had
Who's
some
your running
monster
back?
games. Saquon Barkley, and then Evan Ingram at tight end as well. So, I mean, the guy's got a ton of weapons. And one thing I liked with Danny Dimes was, like, he didn't really force the ball to anybody. I feel like he kind of just, like, would go through his progressions actually pretty good. And, like, just whoever was open. Like, you'd have a Golden Tate game here, and then you'd have, like, a Sterling Shepard game. And then, some of those guys actually couldn't even stay on the field. So, now finally you get a full year with all those guys healthy. Like I said, we saw some games where Danny Dimes was thrown for 4 touchdowns. I mean, a lot of people were giving the Giants shit for taking him, was it 6 overall? 2 years ago or last year. Well, yeah, 2 years ago or whatever. But but then we see some games where he's going out there throwing for 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's not easy to do, especially as a rookie coming into the league.
Yeah, I mean, 24 touchdowns as a rookie last year. I mean, if he played the full season, he would have broke that Baker 27 touchdowns.
Yeah. How many games did he play?
12.
12. Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm assuming in 4 games he throws
yeah.
3 more touchdowns.
For sure, yeah.
I'm assuming, allegedly. But yeah, I mean, like I said, 12 games, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns. My computer went off, so I got to look the stats up. I mean, also 279 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. So you adjust some of those, almost 300, without 4 games started. So you add another 4 games, there's probably a 350, maybe even 400 rusher on the ground.
Yeah.
The weapons, yeah, I just, I like the potential upside of Daniel Jones. This year.
He's a guy I would take a late round, just like I know I keep fucking repeating myself with this QB2 thing, but that's how I do it. I fucking play the matchups.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think I'm not mad at that actually.
Yeah, and if he takes another step up, I mean, you could be looking at a guy who's throwing for over 4,000, rushing for another 300 and maybe 30, and that's, right along the lines of the guys we were discussing with Tannehill and Carson Wentz. I mean, that's their numbers, kind of. You look at
Yeah.
that. So, wouldn't surprise me to see that at Danny Jones.
I mean, the Giants' defense isn't anything like, they have they're great. So, I mean, there could be a lot of games where they might have to lean on Danny Jones to keep him in the
Yeah, you
game.
could just dump it off to Saquon on any play. He could take it.
Danny
for sure.
Jones.
500 yards.
Perfect segue because I'm looking at the numbers and it's funny because I watch a lot of Giants games. I mean, I had the package at the house and I will tell you
The
the
Giants
numbers are pretty deceiving. No, so before the fantasy playoffs, I would tell my friends, this dude Danny Dimes, he had a lot of turnovers. The dude does not check he does not check down at all. Like we would watch a game where Saquon would be wide open and it was just 4 yards, and Saquon's like, yo, and this dude would just like right there, just right there. Just give him the ball.
And granted, he threw a touchdown.
Granted, he threw a touchdown. That's granted that for one, but there were so many plays where Saquon would be open in the flats for like a 5-yard completion with like 4 yards of space, and he would not do it. And then finally, I went to go look when Saquon finally started breaking out. He finally got 4 catches, 90 yards, 4 catches, 25 yards. He was still getting targets earlier, but they were getting smacked. So I think he needs to learn how to use Saquon more, and he'll be a lot better, because when he first came in, when he was like fumbling a lot, he was just looking, which isn't a bad thing to look to throw the ball downfield.
Go through the progressions and all that.
Yeah, because Derek Carr can't do that. So Derek Carr doesn't do that. So you can't be mad at it, but I think he'll be good if he can be like Manning and give the ball to Saquon. I mean, give him 8 targets a game. Like, it's good. I like he goes through his progressions, but you still want to give the ball to Saquon. So I think if he balances it out, he can be top 12. Because I think those times where he does force it is when he should be checking down.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to be a gunslinger, so it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, Danny Dimes. One of those, like you said, Mike said. I mean, he's one of those guys where, like, if I get him as my second quarterback and I'll just play the matchups, yeah, I like it.
He's a guy that too that you could like somehow sneak and.
Yeah.
So that way he's on your fucking squad, dude, for free, bro.
And they play the Eagles twice, and they play the Redskins twice. So
Yeah, and that's what I call
And the
horny
Cowboys
right
twice
there.
now
That's
with no-
horny, dude.
Byron Jones.
That's the horniest matchup I ever heard.
Yeah,
For sure. We're touching to the last guy here. We got Drew Lock
catch.
from the Denver Broncos. Just another guy, young quarterback who's just surrounded with a ton of talent. I mean, they got Cortland Sutton. They go out and they draft Jerry Jeudy. They also draft KJ Hamler out of Penn State. You got Noah Fant, which they drafted 2 years ago. They go out and get Melvin Gordon, and they got Philip Lindsay as well. So this could be another one of these offenses that's like really exciting to watch. I mean, the defense isn't the same thing it was back when they were making those Super Bowl runs with Peyton Manning. So, and we've seen like Drew Lock. He's got a big arm. He's not afraid to throw deep. I mean, arguably, he's got a ton of weapons to get it done. So, I mean, I know Drew Lock's kind of one of your guys, Dre. I mean, how do you feel about him?
I mean, more than anything, dude knows every word to the Young Jeezy song. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. First
Bro,
off,
that's like the third time you read
second
that.
off, no, he's like a character guy. Like the coaches love him. Like his teammates love him. He's a good locker room guy. And on the low, I mean, he took over the last 5 games and finished 4-1. I mean, he brought out the best in Noah Fant. Cortland Sutton did good. I mean, he pretty much won the job those last 5 games. I mean,
Yeah.
to go out and perform like that. I mean, and they weren't even expecting him to go 4-1. I bet you the Broncos weren't even trying to win like that, but he went out there and he showed. I mean, he's got not only does he have a big arm, but he can throw, like, he can fit it in tight spots. And
He said, "Ma, tune to channel 6. Watch this."
And I know you saw that thing where he did like that little laser one where he throws that touchdown to Noah Fant. I don't know. I'm sure it'll pop up, but I mean, I think they like what they saw enough to, like you said, T. They went and got a Jeudy. They went and got a KJ Hamler. They even got his old college teammate in Albert O. They played together 2 years ago in Missouri, and I saw the interview where he was like super hyped. He said that was like one of the more exciting picks he had because I guess that's his boy. So, I mean, it looks like they're going all in on him, just like the Browns are on Baker. And I mean, their defense they got rid of Chris Harris, but their D should be good enough to keep him in games and then have Locke, put him in position. But he's got a cannon, so
I wouldn't be surprised to see Locke take like a massive jump to where he's like all of a sudden top 10. I mean, like I said, he's got a ton of weapons. I mean, yeah, they went out. They obviously believe in him. They're like, hey man, we're gonna go get you a ton of weapons. Like now it's on you to perform.
for
so,
sure. And they got Melvin Gordon.
And they got Melvin Gordon. So yeah, I like him. Like I said, I mean, I feel like all these guys right here, give or take, even from like QB9 down through this whole list that we've been breaking them down. I feel like any of these quarterbacks, you could arguably say like, okay, maybe they have the potential to be top 12, which is probably like we're always preaching, like wait on quarterbacks. Don't be one of these guys. I know it's you want to get that Lamar Jackson, you want to get the Mahomes, because those guys are studs. But
you got to understand too is that last year I was able to get Lamar Jackson in one of those super late rounds, like 11th round or some shit like that. So it's like those guys are there, but you got to take a shot on them on the bottom.
I took Baker over Lamar last year.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Baker looked good 2 years ago.
I had Lamar in like 3 or 4 leagues.
Jesus Christ, you should have won them all. No, I mean, if you had to pick one of these guys, which one could you see making the jump to 12?
I would see
one?
I would see Drew Lock over Daniel Jones actually.
I mean, out of all these, I could see
Obviously Ben first, but
I mean, I think you got to go Wentz, like you said. He had nobody, and now he's gonna have at least somebody to throw the ball to.
I fucking hope so.
So I mean, they still have a good offensive line. I mean, this is tough. I mean,
It's tough because Drew Lock could do it. I mean, as much as I made fun of their offense, I mean, this year they could. Honestly, for the sake of them, I hope that division is good because if they can be a good offense, you'll have the Raiders, you'll have them, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. I mean,
Yeah.
that'll just be good for football.
I think all these quarterbacks, like I said, it's really tough. I mean, to rank all these quarterbacks, I think it's probably one of the toughest things is to really gauge these quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, they could be the difference between like quarterback 12 and quarterback 18 is like, I mean, it could be a couple passing touchdowns,
For sure.
a couple passing yards, you know?
And it goes to show you that's why you should wait. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you really, I mean, you know what? If you want your guy, go get your guy. But
Yeah.
think about it.
For sure. All right, yeah. So that was the early rankings for the top 12 quarterbacks. Obviously, when we get close to the regular season, we'll have like our for sure rankings. Next
Or training
episode,
camp, whatever.
Yeah. Next episode, we're gonna touch on the early tight end rankings. That one should be pretty fun right there. I know Dre's got some good stats on my boy Mike Gesicki.
We'll get it cracking.
Yeah.
There's some good tight ends. You know that I'm actually
Mike
hopefully this year
Gesicki.
opens up. Definitely not Vance McDonald or Ebron though. They're bums.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, chill on Ebron, dude.
Sorry.
Dude, I think Ebron's gonna emerge
Yeah.
like Aquaman walking out of the water.
No, I like Ebron actually. No, I hope he balls for them.
For sure, yeah. But subscribe if you can, please. I know it's a long podcast. We're just trying to
Yeah.
get some content out for you guys, but
Do it.
if you
For
can
sure.
subscribe for us, much appreciated. Like Mike said, go to the Apple iTunes podcast or whatever and leave us a review.
Yeah, if you're listening to whatever podcast app you use, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, fucking Stitcher, bro. There's so you know how many podcast apps there are. By the way, there's so many. It's insane. Like I posted on Instagram once, like, what podcast app do you guys use? And dude, the amount of people that put like other and wrote in shit, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's so many, and I downloaded all of them, but just so I could like see
He's
what
like, I
our,
have them all.
because I just want to see what our thing looks like, anyways.
Yeah.
But
Fuck
yeah. So if you're whatever podcast app you use, man, just go ahead and like it, rate us as high as you can. Please leave an honest review. We don't judge, but you can on our review. But yeah, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I was gonna say, I forgot to say this in the beginning, but if you made it this far in the podcast, thank you. Also, check us out if you want. We release a podcast Monday and Friday, right? This one came a little bit late just because of Mother's Day yesterday, and but on the Thursday or the Friday episode, we record it live on Thursday nights. So if you want to be a part of the podcast, if you want to comment and ask us some questions live, you can do that through that podcast or through that live stream.
Mike.
So that's live on YouTube every Thursday, 7:00. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Dude, bro, I got you, bro.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah, it's just, got you.
That's good.
You look good.
If you want to see what we're talking about, go to the YouTube, dude. So I won't hammer you too hard with that, but check out all of our shit. If you have any questions about your fantasy team, if you just drafted Dynasty, send it to us. I want to see what it looks like.
We got you.
You know, I'm curious.
And if it's bad, we'll make fun of you. And then
If
we'll
it's
help
bad, we'll
kidding.
we might roast you for a second, but then we'll let you know what to do next. What's the next move? Oh fuck, you got Pat Mahomes on your team. Nice.
you. Trade him to me. Just kidding.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Do everything I just said. Idiots. Just kidding. I love you. I love you. Just kidding.